Hi friends, very good morning to all of you. Yes, we are revising our auditing standards. CA final ke exams are begin today. Yes, CA final exams are begin today and inter exams are starting from tomorrow. So all the best to all the students who are appearing for CA final, CA inter as well as CA foundation examination. Just make sure you write full 100 marks paper. You stay calm, you stay composed and don't get up from examination hall before 3 hours. आपको 3 घंटे दिए, sit over there. If by chance you finish your paper early, try to improvise what you have written. That's it. Okay, now this is part 4 of our essay revision. Last part, essay revision, total we have done in 4 parts. Part 1, 2, 3, 4. Part 1 and 2 we took it yesterday. Part 3 was morning 8 to 9:30 and part 4 is basically your 10 to 11:30, but probably will extend from 10 to 12. I repeat, probably extend hoga aaj ka class till 12 o'clock and we'll finish off all the essays. And just a very important announcement for you. At Unacademy, the prices are going to rise soon. Yes, at Unacademy, the prices are rising. If you or any of your friends want to take up a subscription, please, this is the right time to take it up right now. So as early as possible, take up a subscription. Use code YESHAS, YESHAS. You'll be getting minimum 10% discount. Chalo, let's begin with today's work. We finished till SA 500. We finished till SA 500, starting with SA 501. अच्छा मुझे बताओ, the essays what we did till now, did the essay talked about any particular item, like how to check sales, how to check purchase, how to check debtors, how to check creditors, how to check inventory? नहीं. Essays till now were very general. अगर आप याद करो तो they say if risk is in many item, come out with overall responses. Risk is in one item, come out with responses which are basically specifically to that item. Beta kya karna, what to do, they don't say anything. They just say risk is in many item, overall response. Risk is in one item, check that item in detail. They are not telling you about how to check sales, purchase, assets, liability. No, but this essay is specific. This essay is very specific. It takes into account 3 things: part A, part B, part C. Part A is attendance at physical inventory counting. Part B is inquiry regarding litigations and claim. Part C is segmental information. And generally, one question comes from SA 501. फिर से बताता हूँ, generally one question comes from SA 501. Let's start with part A, attendance at physical inventory counting. अच्छा, physical verification of inventory is a responsibility of management. And अगर आपको याद हो, in CARO, if we report in CARO 2020, we have to report whether physical verification of inventory is done by management at a reasonable interval. So physical verification is responsibility of management. We are required to attend the physical verification. Word is attendance. Observe करना है आपको वहां जाके. तो auditor should obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about existence and condition of inventory. How do I understand inventory really exists? अब देखो वहां जाके. You should obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about existence and condition of inventory by attendance at physical counting in order to. अच्छा, attend करोगे तो क्या होगा? You can evaluate the management's instruction. You can observe the performance of management counting, inspect the inventory, and perform some test counts. Perform test counts. To obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about existence and condition, you have to attend the physical verification. And number two, you need to ensure that your final inventory count which is taken is the one which was there on physical. So physical में था, based on that only the figure is taken and based on that the inventory figure comes in balance sheet. ठीक है? अच्छा, now मैनेजमेंट काउंट करेगा, हमें ऑब्जर्व करना है, वी हैव टू स्टैंड ओवर देयर. तो कहने से दोनों चाहिए, वी आर आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड, मैनेजमेंट इज आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड. So it should be generally, it should be preferably done on balance sheet date because that is the inventory which comes in balance sheet. But suppose you're not able to do on balance sheet date. Suppose आप balance sheet date को नहीं कर पा रहे हो and you're doing on other date, other than the date of financial statement. So in that case, you are required to check the changes. Suppose physical verification is done on 28th March. So can I say that figure doesn't come in balance sheet? So 28th March, okay, this is inventory. From 28th to 31st, you're required to look for the changes. Are you clear? And now, iske liye, what should I do? I need to understand whether they're maintaining perpetual inventory record. Perpetual record is nothing but a register. याद है? Management keeps a register, receipt, issue, balance. Do they keep the perpetual record? Are the perpetual records reliable? And now, the day when I counted 28th March, to 28th March physical is this, and 28th March the register shows this. If there's a significant difference, try to understand the reason why there's a difference between physical and the one which is there in records. So if you do on other than financial statement date, you have to check for the changes. Uske liye, try to see the perpetual record, the register which is maintained. Achha, if you are unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances, the date decided you are not able to attend, then you do it on alternative date. Date decided you are not able to attend, do it on alternative date. Achha, it is impracticable only, not possible only to attend due to nature of item or location. Imagine inventory pada hai koi border area. We ever go down in border area, inventory is lying there, and now border mein tensions are going on. The kind of war jaisa situation hai. So can we go to that border area? Nahi. So can I say it is impracticable? If it is impracticable, then in that case I should perform alternative procedure. Achha, now just tell me one thing. It will be going will be a bit difficult, or going will be a bit costly, or time ज़्यादा लगेगा. Is that an excuse? No, that's not an excuse. But just because it will be difficult or costly or time consuming, that's not an excuse. So you basically don't accept that. But if it is really impracticable, you do alternative procedure. And an alternative procedure karne ke karan, you are not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Suppose you're not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit, modify the report as per SA 705. If inventory is lying under the custody of third party, inventory third party ke paas pada hai, we can do external confirmation, and we can also do other procedures. We can do external confirmation as well as other procedure. Other procedure mein you yourself go and check it, or you can arrange for some other auditor, like that job worker is in some another city, so wahan ka local auditor I can arrange, you can go and see the inventory. So I myself go, or I can arrange someone, or I can take a report from their auditor. Service auditor का meaning वो जो जॉब वर्कर है ना उसका ऑडिटर. तो जॉब वर्कर के ऑडिटर के पास से I'll take a certificate about their inventory counting. क्या वो बराबर inventory count कर रहे हैं? Do they have a proper internal controls for verification of inventory? I'll take a report from their auditor. Or I can inspect the documents relating to inventory. If it is lying with third party, one is confirmation, second other procedure. Agar question आया, when the inventory is lying with third party, we do external confirmation and other procedure. Give examples of other procedure. This is the answer. Give examples of other procedure. This is the answer. And lastly, we take a written representation. We take a representation from management regarding what? Two things. One, they have completely disclosed all information to us, and they've adhered to the laid down procedure for physical counting. Physical counting के लिए जो procedure थे, they have followed it. यहाँ पे questions are all simpler. I'm just moving ahead to the next point. All questions are actually simpler. I'm not going into questions. Direct है. Part B is inquiry regarding litigations and claims. अच्छा, inquiry. Now we know litigations and claim. Difference क्या है? Litigation is something which has reached court. Claim is something which has not reached court. अच्छा, अगर litigation and claim result in a probable obligation, तो क्या ऐसे मुझे provision करना पड़ेगा? But if they result in a possible obligation, we disclose them as contingent liability. The auditor need to design and perform audit procedures to identify the litigations and claims. So how to identify litigations and claim? One, inquire with the management plus unka legal in-house team. Unse inquire karo, sir, what are the litigations, claims which are there? Second, review the minutes of board meeting, TCWG meeting, meeting of legal counsel, वो सारी चीजें. See, if a huge litigation is going on, can I say they would have discussed in meeting? उससे पता चलेगा. Third, review the legal expense account. अच्छा, sometimes they have paid money to lawyers. अच्छा, तो legal expense आप check करो, उसमें payment to lawyer. They told me there are 3 cases. I found a bill of lawyer, payment for 4th case. I found a bill of lawyer. उसमें लिखा था this is for the 4th case. So I can understand there are not 3 cases, 4 cases. So one, inquire with management, legal counsel, review the minutes, review the legal expense account. This is identifying litigations and claims. अच्छा, अब identify हो गए. After identifying, can I say I need to see whether a provision required or a contingent liability? तो उसके लिए you need to talk to the lawyer. They know better whether we'll win the case, lose the case. But if you directly communicate, they will not reply. The letter should go from management to the lawyer, telling the lawyer to tell the status of the case directly to auditor. telling the lawyer to tell the status of case directly to auditor. Acha, if management does not allow you to talk with lawyer and you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence by alternative procedure, तो आप अपना report modify कर दो. You are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and take a representation about what? Completeness of information provided, adequacy of information provided regarding litigation. See, the question is, how do you identify litigation? That 3 points. Inquire with management, legal counsel, minutes of meeting, and third one, review the legal expenses. Next is segmental information. We know as per Accounting Standard 17, the segmental reporting is to be disclosed in notes to accounts segment wise. Like Reliance Industries Limited, one company, they are into textile business, they are into refinery business, they are into telecom, Geo. बहुत सारे businesses है, one company doing many business. So P&L balance sheet is for a company as a whole. But can I say shareholders, users, they want to know how each of the division is doing. They want business-wise profit or sometimes geographical area-wise profit. So there can be two type of segment: business segment, geographical segment. A17 tells that one of them you select as primary segment, दूसरे को आप secondary segment, and you give disclosures accordingly. So as an auditor, I need to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about presentation and disclosure of segmental information. अच्छा, तो इसके लिए what should I do? I should understand the method which is used by the management, and evaluate karo whether that method is as per the requirement of applicable financial reporting framework and test whether the methods are being followed properly or not. That's one. And second, they've clearly told you perform analytical procedure, other audit procedure, whichever you feel right. So one, understand entity. Second, perform analytical procedure, other audit procedure, which you feel right. So nice, it's kind of review jaisa. So don't do a kind of detailed audit procedure because you are not giving an opinion on segmental information. आपका opinion है overall financials पे. So no need to do that much detailed audit procedure. So one, inquiring with management. Second is about performing analytical procedure, other tests which are appropriate. Okay. Now, examples of matter that may be relevant when you're obtaining understanding of method used by management. And so the segmental information when management is preparing, which are the things which are important? Can I say allocation of common asset, allocation of common cost? How is the sales done between inter-segment? How do you eliminate the inter-segment sale when you're preparing a final balance sheet, final P&L? Those are important matters right there. So check sales, which are the important matters? Sales, transfer, charges between segment, elimination of inter-segment amounts, comparison with budget. आपने बजट बनाए होंगे ना बिजनेस वाइज, तो उसके साथ कंपैरिजन, अलोकेशन ऑफ एसेट्स एंड कॉस्ट, ये कॉमन एसेट कॉमन कॉस्ट है, उसका अलोकेशन कैसे होता है, एंड कंसिस्टेंसी विद प्रायर पीरियड, आर दे प्रिपेयर्ड एज पर द लास्ट ईयर और नॉट. So this is basically examples of matter that are relevant for obtaining understanding about the method used by management in determining segmental information. Important. Take a representation about completeness of information, appropriateness of segment selected, and organizational structure, hierarchy. See, अगर आपके directors business wise है, तो I can understand business segment is primary segment. अगर आपके directors area wise है, तो I can understand geographical area is primary segment. Done. तो यहाँ पे give examples of matter that are relevant for understanding the method used by management for segmental information. ये ABCD. This is the answer. Then next one is SA 505, external confirmation. अच्छा, हमें मालूम है, we know external evidences are better than internal evidences. One of the way of getting external evidence is external confirmation. अच्छा, so what is the meaning of external confirmation? They are direct written response. Writing में mandatory. It's direct written response to the auditor from the third party. It comes to the auditor from the third party. It can be in paper form, electronic form. अच्छा सर, मैंने debtor को call किया. Are you required to pay this much amount? He said yes. Is it external confirmation? नहीं, it has to be in writing. Oral नहीं चलेगा. अच्छा सर, मैंने debtor को WhatsApp message किया. I replied. Is it okay? नहीं. Social media is not regarded as a valid audit evidence. हाँ, आप email कर सकते. Email is allowed. हाँ, WhatsApp किया, that's not allowed. अच्छा, just tell me one thing. Remember we have 7 assertions. 7 assertions there. Existence, rights and obligations, so on. If I do external confirmation, do I get all 7 assertions? मैंने debtor को confirm किया, somebody replied yes, I have to pay. If somebody replied yes, I have to pay, तो कैसे I can understand debtor really exists? हाँ, पता चलेगा रियली हाँ कोई है, रियली एग्जिस्ट, तो एग्जिस्टेंस पता चला. I am able to understand existence. But now whether it's a good debtor, doubtful debtor, should I need to make a provision or not, वो पता नहीं चलता है. So can I say I can understand about existence but not about valuation? Same way, if I just do external confirmation, मैंने सिर्फ external confirmation किया, do I get sufficient appropriate audit evidence? See, one procedure, अगर आप सिर्फ एक ही चीज करो, that cannot be sufficient. हाँ, वो relevant and reliable evidence हो सकता है. For debtor, which is the most relevant evidence? Confirmation. But वो sufficient नहीं बोल सकता. एक one thing only can never be said to be sufficient. The objective is to design and perform procedures to obtain relevant and reliable, not sufficient appropriate, relevant and reliable audit evidence. Scope generally use करते हैं to confirm the balances, but can also be used for other things like confirming the terms of agreement, whether the rate of interest is this much, whether this asset is given as security, उसके लिए भी use हो सकता है. Assertion, when I do confirmation, I don't get all assertion. So confirming debtor gives me existence, but वो good है, bad है, valuation पता नहीं चलता. Process is very simple. First, determine what you want to confirm. Information. Say debtor. Debtor में which debtor? Because we don't send letter to all debtors. Sample करेंगे. तो which debtor? Select the confirming party. Now you design your request. Request माने आपका letter. You design your request. Make sure they address properly, and there should be a line in the letter कि भैया reply directly auditor को आना चाहिए. Send the request. If reply doesn't come, do a follow up. The fun, determine information what is to be confirmed. Debtor. Debtor में which debtor? Third, design your letter. Make sure they are properly addressed. First, one line that reply should come directly to auditor. Send the letter, and if reply doesn't come, do a follow up. Achha, timing of external confirmation. When I should do external confirmation? Is it mandatory to do on balance sheet date? Is it mandatory to do on balance sheet date? No. Either at balance sheet date or any date which is reasonably close to balance sheet date. या तो balance sheet date या any other date which is reasonably close to balance sheet date. Sir, क्यों reasonably close? Reason. If I confirm debtors of 1st March, can I say balance sheet में तो 31st March will come? So I have to check for changes from 1st March to 31st March. That's why they're telling either balance sheet date or reasonably close to balance sheet date. Now, your request can be of two types: positive confirmation request, negative confirmation request. Which one to use depends on your objective. Achha, positive confirmation request, the respondent has to reply in all cases. Whether balance tallies, doesn't tally, mandatory reply. Negative confirmation request is to reply only if the balance does not tally. Okay, so positive में mandatory, negative में yes to reply, balance doesn't tally. अच्छा, positive में if reply doesn't come, I have to do alternative procedure because mandatory reply था. Negative में if reply doesn't come, the normal assumption is the balance is tallied because yes to reply only when it doesn't tally. So practically negative confirmation request is not good because India में people don't reply, and यहाँ पे what will happen? Under negative they don't reply. My assumption is balance tallied है, वो गलत हो जाएगा. तो negative confirmation request should not be used as a sole substantive audit procedure unless all the following are present. तो क्या मैं negative को अकेला ऑडिट प्रोसीजर, आई डिड ओनली नेगेटिव कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट, नथिंग एल्स, क्या वो चलेगा? नहीं. You should not use it as a sole substantive procedure unless all are present. Which all are present? One, the area where you're using negative confirmation, now वहाँ पे risk is very less. The risk of material misstatement is low. अपने control भी check किए, controls are working well. Second, population consists of large number of homogeneous items, similar item. The population बहुत बड़ा है, homogeneous है. Third, exception rate, chances of disagreement are very low. Imagine there are 1000 debtors. 1000 में से आप sample ले रहे हो, say for example 400. अब 400 people replying, and you know chances of disagreement are very low. 1 or 2 might not tally. So 400 में से 1 or 2. Oh, 400 are there. Oh, tally. And by mistake not tallied भी tallied में डाल दोगे. So better is let that only 2 people to reply. And last, you are not aware of any circumstances that causes you to believe that the respondent will disregard your request. Achha, you told the respondent to reply. Can I say balance doesn't tally? आपने उनको बोला to reply balance doesn't tally, and you don't feel there are any circumstances by which they will disregard your request, means they will not follow your request. If balance doesn't tally, they will pakka reply ऐसा है, then only go for this. So you can use negative confirmation request as a sole substantive procedure only if all the following are present. अच्छा, if management refuses you not to send a letter of confirmation for a particular party, तो एक को बोल रहे नहीं करो, तो don't directly say yes no. Understand the reason why management is telling so. Now we understood, management told me, sir, there are litigations going on, we are claiming 5 lakh, he is telling 3 lakh, so if you send a letter, definitely he will not agree to it, and second, he will blast us, he will tell to court litigation is going on and their auditors are sending such a letter. So management give you a proof, sir, see the litigation is going on, these are court's document. तो अगर रीजन जेन्युइन है, यू मे एक्सेप्ट द रिक्वेस्ट. अगर आप एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हो, यू हैव टू डू अल्टरनेटिव प्रोसीजर. डन. दिस वाज अबाउट योर, किसके लिए था? एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट, फैक्टर्स टू बी कंसिडर्ड व्हेन डिजाइनिंग अ रिक्वेस्ट. अच्छा, पॉजिटिव कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट, नेगेटिव कंफर्मेशन रिक्वेस्ट, उसके अंदर बेसिकली शुड आई जस्ट कंफर्म बैलेंस, शुड आई कंफर्म अदर डिटेल्स, तो आपका रिक्वेस्ट लेटर कैसे होना चाहिए, उसके लिए फैक्टर्स. दिस इज द फैक्टर्स. हाउ शुड द लेटर बी? तो एक असर्शन कौन सा एड्रेस कर रहे हो, स्पेसिफिड आइडेंटिफाइड रिस्क कितना है वहां पे, लेआउट प्रेजेंटेशन आपको कैसे रखना है, पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस, मेथड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन व्हिच यू आर यूजिंग. तो प्रोबेबली इफ एट ऑल यू आर गोइंग फॉर अ राइटिंग वन, तो आप 3-4 क्वेश्चन दे दो, चल जाएगा, इट इज फाइन. Plus, how much a management encourages the third party to communicate. कई बार क्या होता है, you send a letter, they will not reply. They will call management, sir, we got a letter from your auditor. Reply करना है, नहीं करना है. Then your management has to encourage, नहीं sir, you reply. So that should be the thing. So this is factors determining whether, basically, which factors are considered for designing a request. अच्छा, second question is different. This was factors considered in designing a request. These are factors for deciding whether to go for. These are factors for deciding whether to go for external confirmation. External confirmation करना चाहिए कि नहीं? Now see, external confirmation can I say, it depends on the respondent, वो कैसे reply दे रहा है. So should I go for external confirmation? तो उसके लिए 1, the confirming party's knowledge of subject matter, ability or willingness to respond, and third, objectivity, whether he is able to reply independently. इंडिया में क्या होता है, suppose we send a letter, balance is not tallied, हम आपको लेटर भेजते हैं, बैलेंस नॉट टैलीड, you will call management, sir, I have to pay only 5 lakh, why auditor is writing 10, मुझे 5 लाख ही पे करना है, ऑडिटर ने 10 लिखा हुआ है. तो my management will say, sir, we have to pay only 5 lakh, don't worry, but sir हमारा सिस्टम अपग्रेडेशन गोइंग ऑन, we are changing from manual to automated, तो थोड़ी एंट्री डबल हो गई है. एक्चुअली डबल नहीं हुई थी, फेक था. Remaining 5 was fake sales. But they say our entries have doubled. But sir, please say yes to auditor, otherwise he will harass us. Unnecessarily हमें परेशान करेगा. And that's why you are replying yes to auditor, I have to pay 10. So can I say the respondent is not objective? Then don't go for this system. So whether to go for this system or not depends on how are the respondent. Next is SA510. Next is SA510, initial engagement. अच्छा, सबसे पहले किसको बोलेंगे initial engagement? Initial engagement is engagement in which the financial statements are audited for the first time. या last year they were audited by another auditor. तो can I say first time audit है या auditor change हुए हैं, then only this is applicable. If it is there, you have to check the opening balance. Whenever it's an initial audit engagement, आपको opening balance check करना है. So you have to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that the closing balances of preceding period are correctly brought forward. The opening balance do not contain a material misstatement and the accounting policies are consistently followed. The opening balance में कोई भी material misstatement नहीं है affecting current period. Accounting policies consistently followed. Okay, तो इसके लिए procedures are important. Procedures are important. तो 1, what you do? Prior period closing, क्या वो correctly brought forward है या नहीं? You try to check that. है ना? अगर prior period का item was not recorded last year, if you are recording now, so remember we write down in this year is prior period item. कुछ last year का रह गया था, now we are recording, उसको prior period item दिखाना होगा. Okay, तो determine previous year's balance are correctly brought forward. See, opening balance reflects appropriate accounting policy. तो जो पहले accounting policies थी, क्या वो appropriate थी या नहीं? and then you can do one or more of following. See the word one or more. अच्छा, अगर previous year were audited by someone else, question, अगर previous year's figures are audited by someone else, do I need to check again the opening balance, or I can rely on his figure? Previous years were audited by someone else, do I need to check again, या can I rely on him? You can rely on him. You can rely on him. तो अगर वो already audited थे, peruse means go through the copies of the audited financials. Second, some procedure. See, one or more, not necessarily सब करना है, one or more, up to you. Plus, some procedures of current period. Some procedures of current year will help you to understand opening balance are fine or not. For example, if I am seeing collection from debtor, अगर मैं collection from debtor check कर रहा हूँ, and there's some opening debtor which is not getting collected. There's some opening debtor which is not getting collected. कैसे मुझे doubt जाएगा? It may be fake. Maybe, I'm not telling it is fake, it may be fake. So some procedures of current year will help you to understand opening balances are fine or not. And third, you can do any specific procedure for opening balance, any specific procedure. You want to go and check last year's bill? Karo. You want to do confirmation of opening balance? Karo. Anything. To perform one or more of following. Okay, for current assets, current liability like debtor, creditor. तो कलेक्शन हुआ कि नहीं, पेमेंट हुआ कि नहीं, दैट गिव्स यू अ प्रूफ कि ओपनिंग वाज जेन्युइन या ओपनिंग फेक हो सकते थे. बट दैट थिंग कैन नॉट बी फॉर इन्वेंटरी. ओपनिंग इन्वेंटरी इज फाइन और नॉट, आई डोंट नो. आई हैव सीन द क्लोजिंग इन्वेंटरी और आई हैव सीन टुडेज इन्वेंटरी. यू हैव टू वर्क बैक, रोल बैक करना पड़ेगा. मालूम है, इफ आई डू इन्वेंटरी काउंटिंग टुडे, तो पहले दिन क्या था, आई रोल बैक बेस्ड ऑन द रजिस्टर, वो सारी चीजें. That I need to do. For non-current asset and liability, like suppose company has taken a loan, okay, I can do opening balance ka confirmation of loan. Okay, if you purchase a fixed asset, I can go and check the bill of fixed asset, because fixed asset is one na, ek bill, wo chalega. If I have to check sales purchase of last year, bahut sare bill hai, that's not possible. The debtors creditor is based on so many sales purchase, that cannot be done. Fixed asset opening balance, I can go and check the bill previous wala, that is possible. So this is how basically you do the audit procedure for opening balance. Plus you have to check consistently the policy is followed or not. अगर आपको पता चले policy is not consistently followed, there's a change. So whether the change is basically retrospective effect is given or not, क्या वो properly accounted है, presented and disclosed बराबर है. See, accounting one aspect, second उसको separately दिखाना है, that is presented properly, and उसके लिए note में एक disclosure भी देना है. तो presentation is how it appears in balance sheet P&L, disclosure is notes में how we are giving it. That is basically to be seen. अच्छा, अगर previous year का audit report modified है, okay, previous year's audit report is modified, तो कहने से opening balances are wrong. Previous year का report modified है, opening balance last year, and if it affects current year, तो current year का report भी modified होना चाहिए. ठीक है. Now how do I report if you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence? Unable to obtain evidence में word आता है possible effect. Possible effect material but not pervasive, qualified. Possible effect material and pervasive, disclaimer. अच्छा, आपने check किया and you found it's a misstatement, तो पहले था unable to obtain evidence में qualified या disclaimer. अच्छा, check किया, पता चला वो गलत है, या there is a change in policy which is not properly accounted, not properly disclosed, in that case you give a qualified or adverse. Disclaimer कब आता है? When we are unable to obtain evidence and possible effect material and pervasive. Disclaimer कब आता है? We are unable to obtain evidence and possible effect material and pervasive. अच्छा, when I talk about opening balance, your opening balance also includes the contingent liability commitment, जिसको हम notes में दिखाते हैं. The contingent liabilities, commitments which are disclosed in notes, they also form part of your opening balance. Okay, next is SFI 20. You have a chapter also on analytical procedure. आपका एक chapter भी है analytical procedure. Okay, now what is analytical procedure? मैंने आपको बताया था analysis of ratios and trends, finding out significant fluctuations, investigating them, वही है, but they've written in a bit different way. So it means evaluation, माने checking of financial information through analysis of relationship. Relationship is ratios and trend. You evaluate the financial information by analyzing ratios and trend among both financial and non-financial data. अच्छा, तो if I'm trying to check salary based on number of employee, अगर मैं सैलरी चेक कर रहा हूँ बेस्ड ऑन नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉय, तो भैया सैलरी इज अ फाइनेंशियल फिगर बट नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज आर नॉन फाइनेंशियल. क्या पीएनएल में नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉय आते हैं? नहीं, it's a non-financial figure. Okay, so you evaluate the financial information by analyzing ratios and trends amongst both financial and non-financial data. It also includes investigation of the identified fluctuations, inconsistencies in relationship. तो अगर आपको कुछ इनकंसिस्टेंसी मिले या फ्लक्चुएशन मिले, उसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स. अच्छा, कहाँ पे यूज होते हैं एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर? ऑल स्टेजेस, प्लानिंग, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, ओवरऑल कंक्लूजन के टाइम सब जगह पे यूज होते हैं. इट इज यूज्ड एट ऑल प्लेसेस. सी, प्लानिंग में आई डू प्रिलिमिनरी एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर, जहां पे रेशियो मैच नहीं होता आई हैव टू प्लान मोर. सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर्स मतलब व्हाइल डूइंग योर ऑडिट together with test of detail या आप extra evidence ला सकते हो, या sometimes you feel test of details will not work well, आप analytical कर सकते हो. And third, conclusion के पहले, before you conclude, you have to do mandatorily analytical procedure to ensure कि भी overall financial statements are consistent with your understanding of entity. अच्छा, अब मुझे बताओ, if I do analytical procedure, do I get sufficient appropriate audit evidence? मैंने आपको बताया था one procedure can never give you sufficient वो हो ही नहीं सकता. तो objective is to obtain relevant and reliable audit evidence. And number 2, mandatory year end पे आपको analytical procedures करना है in order to decide whether the financial statements are matching with your understanding of entity. तो दो objective है. Did you understand? Okay, now how to do analytical procedures? I compare with prior period, I compare with budgets, I compare with industry information. And it's not just financial, it's financial as well as non-financial data. ठीक है? कैसे होता है? We compare with prior period, we compare with budgets, we compare with industry standards. अच्छा, when you are designing and performing substantive procedures, जब आप डिजाइन कर रहे हो, परफॉर्म कर रहे हो substantive analytical procedure, अच्छा, सिर्फ analytical procedure या substantive analytical procedure, they both are same. See, substantive procedure के दो तरीके याद है, टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स, एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर. तो एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर. तो अगर वर्ड आया सब्सटैंटिव एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर, इट्स द सेम थिंग. ओके, तो सब्सटैंटिव एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स करते टाइम क्या ध्यान रखना है? वन, वेदर इट इज सूटेबल फॉर गिवन असर्शन. यार अगर मुझे एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ पीपीई चाहिए, पीपीई का एग्जिस्टेंस, यार गो फॉर फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन, एनालिटिकल मत करो. तो सी वेदर इट इज सूटेबल फॉर अ गिवन असर्शन. सेकंड, एनालिटिकल करने में डेटा यूज होगा. इवैल्यूएट द रिलायबिलिटी ऑफ डेटा. जो डेटा यूज कर रहे हो क्या वो रिलायबल है? नहीं. दिस मेनी एम्प्लॉइज आर देयर, एवरेज सैलरी इज दिस मच, इंक्रीमेंट वाज दिस मच ड्यूरिंग द ईयर. फिर डेवलप एक्सपेक्टेशन, कंपेयर विद एक्चुअल. अगर डेवलप एक्सपेक्टेशन, कंपेयर विद एक्चुअल, अगर द डिफरेंस इज ह्यूज, इन्वेस्टिगेट. अच्छा सर, इन्वेस्टिगेट कैसे करूं? टू वेज. दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, हाउ टू इन्वेस्टिगेट. इंक्वायर विद मैनेजमेंट, एंड जो मैनेजमेंट रिस्पॉन्ड करे उसके लिए भी एविडेंस लो. Inquire with management, and whatever explanation management gives, obtain evidence for that explanation also. And number 2, any other audit procedure whichever you deem appropriate. ये any other audit procedure कब आएगा? जब आप inquire करते हो, management is not giving appropriate answer, then you might do some other procedures. How to do investigation, inquiring with management, obtaining appropriate audit evidence for their responses, or you can do any other audit evidence whichever you deem appropriate. अच्छा sir, how much do I rely on analytical? Analytical procedure पे कितना rely करो? Just tell me one thing. If item is material, should you do only analytical या also test of detail? Sir, also test of detail. तो item material होगी, मैं साथ में और भी कुछ करूंगा. ठीक है. Second, what are the risk involved? Inherent risk control is ज़्यादा है, तो कहना इसे chance of misstatement ज़्यादा है. I'll also do something else. Third, accuracy with which I am predicting my result. If I feel today was the best analysis, rely more. दूसरी procedures कम कर लो. And other audit tests directed towards same objective. अच्छा, मैंने test of details already किया हुआ है. It shows this. Analysis भी same result दे रहा है. Test of detail already किया था, analysis भी same दे रहा है कि नहीं? They both are matching, तो मैं rely कर लूँगा. But if they both are not matching, I'll doubt. This is how much to rely on analytical procedure. Depends on 4 factors. Next, we have question over here. I directly go to the important one. अच्छा, come to this fourth one. आपने rent पे किया है 50,000 per month. Rent पे किया है 50,000 per month and it is as per the rental agreement. अच्छा, अगर आप सिर्फ rent को check करते हो rent agreement के साथ, is it analytical or test of detail? If you check rent with rent agreement, is it analytical or test of detail? Sir, वो test of detail है. We check bills, agreements, documents, वो test of detail है. फिर अगर आप सिमिलर इंडस्ट्री डेटा देखो ना तो पता चले मंथली रेंट 10,000 ही होना चाहिए, सिमिलर लोकेशन द रेंट इज 10,000। अच्छा, तो इंडस्ट्री से डेटा से पता चला द रेंट शुड बी 10,000, दिस यू कुड हैव caught if you would have done analytical. If you're just checking rent with rent agreement, you will feel everything is fine, but actually things are not fine. Next, question number 6, factors which are to be considered while using analytical procedure. एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर करते टाइम फैक्टर्स, वन, क्या मुझे डेटा अवेलेबल है एनालिसिस करने के लिए? डिसएग्रीगेशन, जितना डेटा बाइफरकेटेड यू कैन डू मोर एनालिसिस। फिर इज दिस अकाउंट टाइप सुटेबल फॉर एनालिसिस? few accounts are not suitable for analysis. Tell me, unusual things और नॉन रूटीन थिंग्स, क्या उसमें एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर कर सकता हूं? नहीं। फ्यू अकाउंट टाइप्स आर नॉट सुटेबल। फिर सोर्स जो डेटा का है, इज द सोर्स रिलायबल? इज देयर अ प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी? क्या कोई प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी है? इनपुट इतना आउटपुट इतना होना चाहिए, प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी होगा, आई कैन यूज एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर। अच्छा, नाउ दिस वन लाइन रिटन, जहां पे प्रिडिक्टेबल होगा वहां पे यू कैन यूज बेसिकली द एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स। अच्छा, नेचर ऑफ असर्शन, I told you, analytical procedures cannot give you all type of assertions. आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा for your assertion क्या analytical procedure suitable है। Generally, analytical procedure use होता है to understand completeness. Generally it is for completeness. If I want to understand existence of PPE, don't do analytical, वहां पे जाके physical verification कर। And last one, how much is inherent risk? How much is inherent risk, control risk? If at all you feel there are significant risk, so you should not do solely substantive procedure is unlikely to be sufficient. तो आप वो नहीं कर सकते। तो factors to be considered for substantive analytical procedure, data available है या नहीं, how much is disaggregation, account type, source, predictability, nature of assertion, and what can go wrong. ठीक है, next one is also important, टेक्निक अवेलेबल फॉर एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर। टेक्निक, अच्छा, तो याद है हम लोग करते थे, वी कंपेयर विद प्रायर पीरियड, वी कंपेयर विद इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड, वी कंपेयर विद बजट। वो जस्ट व्हाट डू वी डू? अब वो टेक्निक, हम ट्रेंड एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं, ट्रेंड अपवर्ड ट्रेंड है, डाउनवर्ड ट्रेंड है, रेशियो एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं। थर्ड, रीजनेबिलिटी टेस्ट। अच्छा, रीजनेबिलिटी टेस्ट क्या है? अच्छा, जीएसटी यू पेड दिस मच, तो कहने से सेल्स इतना होना चाहिए, जीएसटी इतना है तो सेल्स इतना, ठीक है। डेप्रिसिएशन इतना है, रेट ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन इज दिस, तो कहने से एसेट शुड बी दिस मच, दैट इज रीजनेबिलिटी टेस्ट। एंड लास्ट, स्ट्रक्चर्ड मॉडलिंग, यू यूज सम स्टैटिस्टिकल मॉडल टू प्रिडिक्ट वो पास्ट में ऐसा था तो फ्यूचर में कैसा होना चाहिए, लीनियर रिग्रेशन एक्सेट्रा काइंड ऑफ थिंग। तो विच आर द टेक्निक्स यूज? बहुत सारी बार क्वेश्चन आया है, जैन 21 एग्जाम में भी था। ट्रेंड एनालिसिस, रेशियो एनालिसिस, रीजनेबिलिटी टेस्ट, जीएसटी इतना तो सेल शुड बी दिस मच, इंटरेस्ट पेड इज दिस मच तो लोन शुड बी दिस मच, एवरेज इंटरेस्ट रेट 10% है, इंटरेस्ट पेड इज 10 लाख तो लोन शुड बी 1 crore, वो रीजनेबिलिटी टेस्ट हो गया। नेक्स्ट, the reliability of data is influenced by various factors. What are relevant when determining? क्या relevant है when you are determining whether data is reliable? तो भैया कहाँ से data आया, source? Is it comparable with other information? Relevance of information available. And last, controls over the data. Data जो आया उसके ऊपर proper controls थे तो data बराबर। This is basically डेटा रिलायबल है या नहीं, उसके लिए कौन से फैक्टर्स यू कंसीडर। आई होप यू आर क्लियर। नेक्स्ट, डेटर्स के लिए एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर सिंपल, यू कंपेयर क्लोजिंग दिस ईयर्स डेटर्स विद लास्ट ईयर डेटर टर्नओवर रेशियो हमारा विद इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड, अच्छा, बजटेड डेटर विद एक्चुअल डेटर, तो दिस इज बेसिकली व्हाट यू कैन राइट, सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन इज। नेक्स्ट वन इज फाइन, अच्छा, ये consideration relating to analytical procedure relating to public sector entity. अच्छा, public sector entity, I have a question. Do you think public sector entity does work always for profit? नहीं, उनके ऑब्जेक्टिव अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, and कई बार what will happen is they might not function in a normal way like the private companies work. प्राइवेट कंपनी विल ट्राई कि भाई सीओजीएस इतना है, इतना मार्जिन लेके सेल्स इतना होना चाहिए, दैट मे नॉट बी द केस फॉर काइंड ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज। सिंपलेस्ट एग्जांपल राइट नाउ, यू नो, क्रूड ऑयल के रेट्स हैव ड्रास्टिकली इंक्रीज्ड, drastically. From $60-70 per barrel, it has become around $110 per barrel. 60 से 110 तो kind of 80% hike आया है. Has our petrol price hiked by 80%? वो 90 वाले 105 हुए. तो कैसे 90 से 105 they've increased it only by 20%. तो crude oil के price तो 80% बढ़ गए. But they've increased the petrol price only by what? 20%. So now when I compare ratios last year, this year, कैसे match नहीं होंगे? Because last year आप देखो प्रॉफिट बहुत अच्छा था, इस बार सडनली ड्रॉप आया बिकॉज ये गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है, दे डू इन दैट वे. तो यहाँ पे रिलेशनशिप में नॉट बी एज गुड एज द प्राइवेट कंपनीज. तो यहाँ पे एक चीज का इश्यू आएगा, बट स्टिल यू मे डू सम अदर एनालिसिस. लाइक सपोज गवर्नमेंट इज कंस्ट्रक्टिंग रोड, 1 किलोमीटर रोड में हाउ मेनी लेबर आवर्स आर इन्वॉल्व. So that all you can still try to do it. Otherwise, you cannot have a better analysis in government companies. Not always be relevant. ठीक है. This sentence, just true false when it comes. Substantive analytical procedures are more applicable. Large volume of data that is predictable. अच्छा, data बहुत large है, predictable है. ऐसा हुआ तो ऐसा होगा. तो can I use analytical procedure? Yes. अच्छा, बिकॉज डेटा बहुत बड़ा है, टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल नॉट पॉसिबल है ना, इट्स प्रिडिक्टेबल. समथिंग जहां पे प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी नहीं है, यू कैन नॉट यूज एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स. नेक्स्ट, May 19, November 19, परचेज के रिलेटेड, परचेज क्वांटिटी के रिलेटेड आप क्या कर सकते हो एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर? कंजम्पशन एनालिसिस, स्टॉक कंपोजिशन एनालिसिस. कौन सा रॉ मटेरियल कितना कितना है, स्टॉक कंपोजिशन. फिर थोड़े रेशियोज एंड आई कैन डू अ क्वांटिटेटिव रिकंसिलिएशन. ओपनिंग स्टॉक प्लस परचेज माइनस सेल्स माइनस डैमेज, क्लोजिंग इतना होना चाहिए. क्वांटिटेटिव रिकंसिलिएशन. क्लियर? इंपॉर्टेंट, 2 बार आया. दिस वाज योर चैप्टर रिलेटेड टू एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स. नेक्स्ट इज essay 530 ऑडिट सैम्पलिंग. नेक्स्ट essay 530 ऑडिट सैम्पलिंग. एनी डाउट्स टिल नाउ? Thank you. अच्छा, now we also have a chapter called audit sampling. तो जब मैं ऐसे कराता हूँ ना, indirectly 50 marks of your subject is getting covered. Sir, why 50 marks? Because आपके chapters भी थोड़े बहुत linked है, वो cover हो जाते हैं. We have chapter 2 planning, chapter 3 risk assessment, chapter 7 is basically your sampling, chapter 8 is analytical procedures. वो सारे chapters भी cover हो गए साथ में. Audit report is also one chapter. ठीक है. तो ऐसे 530 is audit sampling. हमें मालूम है auditor always is lack of time, he doesn't do full checking. So what is sampling? Application of audit procedure to less than 100%. Even if you check 80%, वो भी sampling है. अच्छा, when you do sampling, there's a sampling risk. Very important, very important. See how many times it's asked. Sampling risk. What is sampling risk? Sampling risk arises from the possibility that auditor's opinion based on sample may be different if the conclusion was reached based on entire population. आपने सैंपल चेक करके ओपिनियन दिया. इफ यू वुड हैव चेक द एंटायर पॉपुलेशन एंड गिवन द ओपिनियन, योर ओपिनियन माइट हैव बीन डिफरेंट. उसको बोलते हैं सैम्पलिंग रिस्क. तो कहने से सैम्पलिंग रिस्क इज you give a different opinion if the whole population was checked. Now suppose just for example, I'm trying to help you out. Population consists of 100 units. 100 में there are 10 errors. 100 में there are 10 errors. तो कहने से 10% error है. I took a sample of 40. If in 40 I found 4 errors. If in 40 मुझे कितनी error मिली? 4. तो कहने से मुझे भी 10% मिली. So I checked sample, I found 10% error. Population में भी 10% error. तो if I give opinion sample से या पूरे population से, कहने से opinion will be same. Because out of 40 I found 4. I also found 10%. There were also 10%. Opinion different नहीं होगा. But imagine out of 40 I found only 2 errors. So can I say I found only 5%? I might feel things are fine, but can I say things were not that fine? अगर पूरा population देखा होता, opinion may be different. Or I checked 40 में I found 8 errors. Total 10 थे ना, 40 में मुझे 8 मिल गए. तो can I say I found 20% error? Actually, that many errors were not there. I felt things are very bad. Can I say they were not that bad? तो पूरा population check किया होता तो opinion might have been different. अच्छा, तो when opinion might be different, total error 10% है. Total error 10% है, 100 में से 10. Now in 40, if I find 10%, opinion will not differ. तो opinion differ कब होगा? When I find less errors or more errors percentage wise. Total 10 से ज्यादा हो ही नहीं सकता. Population में 10 error है. So suppose in 40 I found 2, can I say 5%? Or suppose in 40 I found 8, can I say it's 20%? तो अगर मुझे percentage wise कम या ज़्यादा मिला, then opinion based on sample, opinion based on population may be different. Okay, suppose in sample you find lesser errors percentage wise. If you're finding lesser errors, you are checking control. You will feel controls are more effective than they actually are. अगर आपको कम error मिली, you will feel controls are more effective. और अगर आप डेटा चेक कर रहे हो, and अगर आपको कम एरर मिली, तो you may come to conclusion material misstatement does not exist when in fact it does. कम एरर मिली, you will feel controls are more effective, or you will feel material misstatement does not exist. अच्छा, ज्यादा एरर मिली, आपको 20% एरर मिली, तो you will feel controls are less effective than they actually are, or you will feel material misstatement exist. रियल में 10% चलता, 20% है तो आपने सोचा मटेरियल है. So this is the two things. So two erroneous conclusions. Sample में you find lesser errors, or sample में you find more errors. अगर lesser error मिला तो you will feel controls are more effective, or you will feel material misstatement does not exist. अगर आपको sample में ज़्यादा error मिले, you will feel controls are less effective, or you will feel material misstatement exist. So this is basically the thing. अब इस दो में से if you find lesser errors in sample, तो can I say you will feel things are fine. Actually things fine नहीं थे, opinion गलत चला जाएगा. But if you find more errors in sample, you feel oh things are not fine, you'll do extra procedure. So A point leads to wrong opinion, या B point leads to extra procedure. So can I say auditor is more concerned with A type वाला error because वहाँ का opinion गलत चला जाएगा. Okay, what is statistical sampling? Statistical sampling is a method of sampling वहाँ पे random selection है. Random is by random number tables. Random माने वो roll number 5, roll number 20, roll number 18. वो random नहीं है, वो haphazard है. Random number tables are there. तो आप selection करो random number tables and you use a probability theory for evaluating the sample result or for measuring the sampling risk. अच्छा, तो statistical sampling में statistical method use होती है only for evaluation of result or for measuring risk. Selection is by random method, by random number tables. Tolerable error, कितना errors आप tolerate करने के लिए ready हो? I am ready to tolerate 10% errors. 10 से ज़्यादा होंगे, मैं अपनी procedures change करूँगा. Expected errors, how much you are expecting. Anomaly is kind of exceptional. ठीक है, तो आपको सैंपल में कुछ मिसस्टेटमेंट या डेविएशन, सी मैं कंट्रोल्स चेक कर रहा हूं बाय सैंपल, पे अटेंशन, मैं कंट्रोल्स चेक कर रहा हूं बाय ऑफ सैंपल एंड कंट्रोल्स आर नॉट वर्किंग वेल, आई डोंट से मिसस्टेटमेंट, आई से डेविएशन इन कंट्रोल. अगर मैं डेटा चेक कर रहा हूं, डेटा बराबर नहीं, आई से देयर इज अ मिसस्टेटमेंट. तो अगर आप कंट्रोल चेक कर रहे हो, वर्ड डेविएशन आएगा. अगर आप सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर कर रहे हो, वर्ड मिसस्टेटमेंट आएगा. यू फाउंड अ मिसस्टेटमेंट और अ डेविएशन इन अ सैंपल, बट ऐसा मिसस्टेटमेंट या डेविएशन दूसरे रिमेनिंग पॉपुलेशन में नहीं है. You can say it's here, but it will not be there at other places. Exceptional वाला thing हो गया. The misstatement or deviation that is demonstrably not a representative of a misstatement or deviation in population. ठीक है, यहाँ मिला सर, दूसरी जगह नहीं होगा. अच्छा, if management says something is anomaly, should I really confirm वो anomaly है? Should I really confirm कि वो real में anomaly है? Answer is yes. You have to really confirm वो anomaly है या नहीं. Next is requirement. Requirement 1 is important. Sample design, sample size, sample selection. Design. See, design should be based on characteristic of population, purpose of audit. Design कैसा होना चाहिए? Characteristic of population, purpose of audit. Imagine. अगर मुझे debtor check करने हैं, तो can I have in my sample creditors? अगर मुझे डेटर का बैलेंस चेक करना है, तो कैन आई हैव इन माय सैंपल, मैंने क्रेडिटर्स को लेटर भेजा, वो बराबर है? नहीं. तो डिजाइन शुड डिपेंड ऑन पर्पस एंड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ पॉपुलेशन. अच्छा, अगर मैं आपको बताऊं, इन अ पॉपुलेशन, अगर आपके पॉपुलेशन में 20% सीनियर सिटीजन है, तो कैसे आपके सैंपल में भी 20% सीनियर सिटीजन होने चाहिए. पॉपुलेशन में 20% सीनियर सिटीजन, सैंपल में भी 20% सीनियर सिटीजन. इफ यू टेक अ सैंपल ऑफ 100, 20 सीनियर सिटीजन. If you take a sample of 1000, can I say 200 senior citizen? So I'm not telling you 100 का sample लो या 1000 का. I'm telling जितना भी sample size हो, 20% should be senior citizen. ये design हुई. Design. I'm not concerned with size. Design में 20% should be senior citizen. So design depends on purpose of audit, characteristic of population. साइज, कितना साइज रखूं, 100 सैंपल लू या 1000 सैंपल लू या 5000 सैंपल लू, डिपेंड्स ऑन आपको कितना सैम्पलिंग रिस्क लेना है. जितना साइज ज्यादा, सैम्पलिंग रिस्क गोes down. The question comes, there's a direct relationship between sample size and sampling risk. False. Inverse relationship. जितना sample size ज्यादा, the sampling risk, opinion based on sample, opinion based on population different होगा, उसके chances कम हो जाएंगे. And you select the sample in a manner, every unit has a chance of selection. Every unit का chance होना चाहिए. If I basically check all transaction above 5 lakh, गलत. तो भैया below 5 lakh का 0% probability हो गया. It cannot be like below 5 lakh 0% probability. No. Every unit should have a chance. You can do one thing, above 5 lakh all, below 5 lakh 1 in 10 transaction, 10 में से एक, वो चलेगा. तो सैंपल डिजाइन, साइज, सिलेक्शन हो गया. सिलेक्शन, परफॉर्म योर प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म करोगे, आपको मिसस्टेटमेंट, डेविएशन मिलेंगे. अंडरस्टैंड द नेचर एंड कॉस्ट. क्यों ये मिसस्टेटमेंट हुआ, क्यों ये डेविएशन हुआ. अगर मैनेजमेंट सेज इट्स अ अनोमली, यू रियली कंफर्म इट्स अ अनोमली और नॉट, है ना. 40 में इतने एरर्स, वुड आई ट्राई टू प्रोजेक्ट रिमेनिंग 60 में कितने होंगे. यस, एंड सी 40 में 2 डजंट मीन रिमेनिंग 60 में 3. ये 40 में 2 क्यों हुए. This happened because Mr. B was on leave, and Mr. B was on leave for more time in remaining. Mr. B was on leave on more time in remaining. तो कहने से remaining में there will be more misstatements. Remaining में ज़्यादा misstatement होगी. तो in that case you're required to see 40 में 2, but remaining 60 में I'm expecting 10. Oh, the total 12 errors out of 100, and then you decide which opinion to be given. तो 40 में ये है, तो project remaining 60 में कितना, and then you evaluate your result. Next, what is the meaning of word population? पता है, मालूम है. उसके characteristic, population should be appropriate, population should be complete, population should be reliable. ठीक है. Next, statistical, non-statistical is fine. Write a short note on statistical, वो भी simple है. Advantages of statistical sampling. एडवांटेज क्या है स्टैटिस्टिकल सैम्पलिंग है. यू कैन मेजर द सैम्पलिंग रिस्क प्रॉपर्ली, तो कैलकुलेट कर सकते हो रिस्क. सेकेंड, अगर स्टैटिस्टिकल सैम्पलिंग में जा रहे हो तो आई विल ट्राई टू से कि आपका सैंपल रिस्क कम होगा, इवन दो यू टेक अ लेसर सैंपल साइज. विदाउट इंक्रीजिंग द साइज यू कैन मेंटेन द रिस्क. बड़े बड़े चीज चेक कर लो, ऑटोमेटिकली सैम्पलिंग रिस्क नहीं बढ़ेगा, बट सैंपल साइज कम हो जाएगा. The sample selection will be more objective, minimum sample size for a specified risk. These are all advantages. Next, what are the factors to be considered for deciding upon extent of checking? मैं sample decide कर रहा हूँ, कितना checking करूँ, depends on what. One, size कैसा है, internal control कैसे हैं, reliability of books. If I feel books are reliable, I may go for less thing. Tolerable range. अच्छा, now pay attention. I am ready to tolerate 10% error. अगर 10 से ज्यादा हुआ, can I say increase my audit procedure? Tolerable range 10%. अगर 10 से ज्यादा हुआ, I'll increase my procedure. तो can I say 10 से ज्यादा हुआ, I have to do extra checking. अच्छा, अगर मैं 10 की जगह 20% रखता, तो can I say extra checking will not be required. तो अगर actual 12 आए, तो tolerable was 10, I have to do extra checking. But if tolerable was 15, can I say extra checking would not be required? तो higher the tolerance limit, tolerable limit आपका higher है, sample size will be less. Are you clear? Higher the tolerance limit, I am ready to tolerate 10%. तो अगर 12 आया, oh I have to change the procedure. But अगर tolerance limit 15 आया, टॉलरेंस लिमिट 15 है, एक्चुअल 12 है, तो कहने से आई डोंट हैव टू चेंज माय प्रोसीजर्स, तो एक्स्ट्रा नहीं करना पड़ेगा. हायर द टॉलरेबल लिमिट, एक्स्ट्रा प्रोसीजर करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सैंपल साइज विल गो डाउन. नेक्स्ट, वी हैव अ वर्ड कॉल्ड स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन, वैल्यू वेटेड सिलेक्शन. स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन का मीनिंग होता है डिवाइडिंग योर हेट्रोजीनियस पॉपुलेशन इनटू होमोजीनियस यूनिट. जैसे आपने डिवाइड कर दिया वैल्यू वाइज, ट्रांजैक्शन अप टू 25,000, transaction from 25,000 to 1 lakh, and transaction above 1 lakh. Now tell me which is more important, up to 25 to 1 lakh या more than 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh. तो more than 1 lakh में you're checking 1 out of 2, दो में से एक. 25,000 to 1 lakh में 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5, and less than 25 में 1 out of 10. तो आपने पॉपुलेशन को डिवाइड कर दिया 3 पार्ट में, एंड देन यू ड्रॉ सैम्पलिंग सेपरेटली फ्रॉम 3 पॉपुलेशन काइंड ऑफ, उसको बोलते हैं स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन. You can have a lesser size and still ensure कि risk doesn't go up because important ones आपने ज्यादा चेक कर लिए. So if I just draw from overall, वो अच्छा नहीं होता. Above 1 lakh 1 out of 2, तो कहना से majorly select हो गए वो. Below 25,000 1 out of 10, तो important ones पे है focused, वो stratification. Second, value weighted selection. So what is this value weighted selection? More the value, more is the probability of selection. जितना value ज्यादा उतना probability ज्यादा. I tell you a simple thing. Suppose आपका population is, say for example 5 crores sales. Sales is 5 crore rupees, and unit wise if I tell you there are 1000 invoices. 1000 invoices है 5 crore है. अब मुझे बताओ आपको 1000 में से कितने चेक करने हैं? How many you want to check out of 1000? Suppose you want to check 100 bills. Suppose आपका सैंपल है 100 इनवॉइस, ठीक है, आपको 100 इनवॉइस चेक करना है. तो सर कौन से 100 चेक करूं? तो एक सैंपल इंटरवल बनेगा. आपको 100 चेक करने, सैंपल इंटरवल, तो 5 crore डिवाइडेड बाय 100. 5 crore डिवाइडेड बाय 100. तो कैन आई से इट विल कम एज 5 लाख रुपीस. अच्छा, अब आप क्या करो, आपकी जो सेल्स फाइल है ना, सेल्स फाइल, इनवॉइस 1 2 3 4 से 1000 तक, ठीक है, उसमें सपोज फर्स्ट इनवॉइस 1 लाख का है, सेकंड इनवॉइस 3 लाख का है, थर्ड इनवॉइस इज 2 लाख, फोर्थ इनवॉइस इज 6 lakhs, सो ऑन. ऐसे आपके इनवॉइसेस है. एंड टोटल एक क्यूमुलेटिव भी फिगर डालो. क्यूमुलेटिव ये 1 लाख हुआ, 1 plus 3 can I say 4 lakh, 4 plus 2 can I say 6 lakh, 6 plus 6 can I say 12 lakh. अच्छा, cumulatively सबका मिला के 1000 invoice together can I say cumulative will be 5 crore. Cumulative sales 5 crore हो जाएगा 1000 invoices मिला के. Now you want to select 100 invoice out of 1000. आपका सैंपल इंटरवल हो गया 5 लाख. तो जब भी cumulative sale crosses multiple of 5 lakh, cumulative sale crosses multiple of 5 lakh, 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 25 lakh, 30 lakh, 35, 40, 45, 50, वो cumulative. कहने से यहाँ पे 5 लाख कहाँ क्रॉस हुआ? एक यहाँ पे 1 4 वो क्रॉस नहीं हुआ था, यहाँ पे हो गया. देन 5 के बाद 10 कहाँ क्रॉस हुआ? सर यहाँ पे ही क्रॉस हो गया. तो दिस इनवॉइस सिलेक्टेड. अब जब क्यूमुलेटिव सेल 15 क्रॉस होगा वो वाला इनवॉइस सिलेक्टेड, क्यूमुलेटिव सेल 20 क्रॉस होगा वो वाला सिलेक्टेड. तो इनडायरेक्टली कहने से ऑल ट्रांजैक्शन अबव 5 लाख ऑटोमेटिकली सिलेक्टेड. ट्रांजैक्शन 5 लाख से ऊपर होगा कहने से क्यूमुलेटिव विल क्रॉस द मल्टीपल ऑफ 5 लाख. एंड जितना वैल्यू ज्यादा उतना उसके सिलेक्शन के चांसेस ज्यादा है. बट इसका मीनिंग ये नहीं है कि छोटे आर नॉट सिलेक्टेड. सी ये बिल 2 लाख का है तो भी सिलेक्ट हो गया, ये 3 लाख वाला नहीं हुआ बट ये 2 लाख वाला हो गया यहाँ पे. दैट्स जस्ट अ फॉर्चून. बट ऑल अबव 5 लाख विल ऑटोमेटिकली बी सिलेक्टेड. इसको बोलते हैं वैल्यू वेटेड सिलेक्शन. वी फाइंड अ सैंपल इंटरवल, टोटल पॉपुलेशन डिवाइडेड बाय सैंपल यूनिट्स. फिर जब भी क्यूमुलेटिव सेल्स क्रॉसेस द मल्टीपल ऑफ सैंपल इंटरवल, वो that item gets selected. Let's see the theory. Under your value weighted, benefit क्या है? Benefit क्या है? This effort is directed towards large value item. तो बड़े बड़े always select हो जाएंगे. This can result in a smaller size. तो यहाँ पे more the value, more are the chances of selection. Next, बहुत सारी methods है sampling की. This is fine, normal one. इसमें कोई important नहीं है. नेक्स्ट, फैक्टर्स इन्फ्लुएंसिंग सैंपल साइज. अच्छा, ये चेक करो फॉर टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल. नीचे वर्ड है फॉर टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल. फैक्टर्स इन्फ्लुएंसिंग सैंपल साइज. ओके, साइज. पे अटेंशन. इफ यू फील रिस्क इज मोर, तो कहने से साइज, सैंपल साइज शुड आल्सो बी मोर. तो इंक्रीज इन रिस्क, साइज विल आल्सो इंक्रीज. इंक्रीज इन रिस्क, साइज विल आल्सो इंक्रीज. अच्छा, अगर आपको एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि ज्यादा एरर्स है, एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ डेविएशन, अच्छा कंट्रोल्स है तो वर्ड डेविएशन है. अगर इफ इट वाज अ सब्सटैंटिव प्रोसीजर और टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल, वर्ड विल बी मिस्टेक. जितना एक्सपेक्टेड रेट ऑफ डेविएशन मोर, साइज विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज. अच्छा, कितना एश्योरेंस चाहिए? इंक्रीज्ड एश्योरेंस चाहिए, साइज शुड ऑल्सो इंक्रीज. एंड लास्ट वन, अगर टॉलरेबल रेट, अगर आपका टॉलरेबल रेट इंक्रीजेस, अच्छा मैं 10 की जगह 20% एरर चला लूंगा, 20% एरर चला लोगे, कैन आई से यू डोंट हैव टू डू एडिशनल प्रोसीजर. अगर 10 क्रॉस हुआ मैं एक्स्ट्रा प्रोसीजर करूंगा, बट अब आई एम डिसाइडिंग 20 तक ठीक है, 20 तक, तो कैन आई से आई डोंट हैव टू डू एक्स्ट्रा प्रोसीजर, तो सैंपल साइज गोस डाउन. तो increase in tolerable error, sample size goes down. And number of sampling units, see population में 1 lakh units है या population में 5 lakh units है, मैं तो 1000 ही चेक करूंगा. 1 lakh units है, 5 lakh unit है, मैं maximum 1000 चेक करूंगा. So tell me, if population has 1 lakh unit, 5 lakh unit, can I say sample size is not affected? I'll check 1000 only. Negligible. This is the factors affecting sample size. Done. ये हो गया हमारा SA 530. One more question, I take it. चलो. What is non-sampling risk? Non-sampling risk is resulting from any reason not related to sampling. तो sample selection, sample design, उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. But imagine आपने sample बराबर select किया, but वो sample का result interpret करने में गलती करी. तो सैम्पलिंग की गलती नहीं थी, दूसरी गलती थी, ह्यूमन मिस्टेक, मिस इंटरप्रिटिंग द सैंपल रिजल्ट, इनअप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट प्रोसीजर, आपने ऑडिट प्रोसीजर जो करी वो गलत करी, यू रिलाई ऑन सम एरोनियस इंफॉर्मेशन, तो सैंपल का एरर नहीं है, सम दूसरा एरर है. Here, that's it. Next is SA 550 related parties. Any doubts? Anybody till sampling? Again repeat, हमारा session till 12 o'clock चलेगा. We'll finish off all the standards. Okay, now related party. Now just tell me one thing. Can I say बहुत सारी बार entity enters into a related party transaction, and related party transaction उनके account balance relationship is to be disclosed in notes to accounts. Now normally, see, मेरी company India में है, I sell across the world. I might have formed the subsidiaries across the world. यूके के सेलिंग के लिए यूके में सब्सिडरी है, यूएस के सेलिंग के लिए यूएस में सब्सिडरी है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सेलिंग के लिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया में सब्सिडरी है. तो आई माइट सेल टू माय सब्सिडरीज, दे विल सेल ओवर देयर. ठीक है, ये नॉर्मल है. बट समटाइम्स देयर इज अ हायर रिस्क इन रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन क्यू. Sometimes there's a higher risk in related party transaction queue because you might be operating them through a complex relationship या complex structure, या फिर आपके ट्रांजैक्शंस आर्म्स लेंथ नहीं होंगे, तो और आपकी जो सिस्टम है ना, इट्स नॉट आइडेंटिफाइंग द रिलेटेड पार्टीज प्रॉपर्ली. तो अगर इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स एंटिटी के हैं, दे आर नॉट आइडेंटिफाइंग द रिलेटेड पार्टीज प्रॉपर्ली, इन दैट केस देयर इज अ हायर रिस्क. तो नॉर्मली रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन ठीक है, नॉर्मली होते हैं, but few cases they have a higher risk when they are run through a complex range of structures and relationship. Second, they are not at arm's length price. And third one is our information system is not good enough to identify the related party transaction. RTP May 2020. अच्छा, now this essay says what? Whether law tells you anything or not. अगर law ने कुछ बोला नहीं बोला, still I have to obtain understanding of related party transaction, related party relationship. Law बोले कि नहीं बोले, you obtain understanding of related party transaction, related party relationship, so that you identify fraud risk factor. अच्छा, fraud risk factor क्या था? Events or condition which motivate someone, pressurizes someone to commit fraud. याद आया? तो law ने बोला नहीं बोला, you have to obtain understanding of related party relationship and transaction, ताकि आपको पता चले whether there is any fraud due to related party transaction, and you are able to evaluate कि financial statements are showing a true and fair view, not misleading due to related party transaction. है ना? अगर law says something, as an auditor you see related parties are appropriately identified, transaction with them are appropriately accounted and appropriately disclosed. I repeat, related parties are appropriately identified, transaction with them are appropriately accounted, and they're appropriately disclosed in notes to accounts. ठीक है? अच्छा, now definition is fine. यहाँ पे I have one question for you. There are so many government companies, ONGC, BPCL, HPCL, NTPC, NMDC, BSNL, so many government companies हैं. अच्छा, सबके अंदर can I say government is the common owner, more than 51% are held by all governments. Are they all related to each other? Whether all government entities are considered to be related to each other. See, normally क्या होता है, if you are under a common control आप related हो, तो A Limited की दो subsidiary BNC, तो BNC are also related, they are under common control. So government companies, they are under the common control of government. Are they said to be related to each other? No. See this line? Entities which are under a common control by state are not considered related. They're not considered related unless they engage in significant transaction or they share resources to a significant extent. So just because government hold कर रहा है, दोनों में control, you both are not related unless you engage in a significant transaction or share economic resources in a significant manner. Next, tell me, who is responsible for identifying the related parties, accounting them properly, disclosing them in notes to accounts? किसकी responsibility है? Management की. Auditor should have a level of knowledge of clients, entity का level of knowledge होना चाहिए ताकि हमें पता चले related party हम identify कर पाए. See, if you know their investments, if I know their investments, so can I say I'm able to identify whether it's a subsidiary, associate, JV, that way. Okay. Now requirements. Okay. Sir, फिर से आ गया risk assessment procedure. Procedures to identify risky area where there can be a fraud or error, but यहाँ पे due to related party relationship and transaction. So you identify risky area where there can be a fraud or error due to related party transaction. अच्छा, now we did a full essay. याद है आपको essay 315 risk assessment procedure के लिए? By understanding the entity, environment, internal control. How do I identify risky area? One, you obtain understanding of what management does. Second, you remain alert. And third, you discuss with your team member. Team के साथ discuss करो, हो गया. How do I identify risky area? One, you understand what entity does. Second, you remain alert. Third, share it with your team. अच्छा sir, कैसे understand करो? Inquire with the management. What? How do they identify related parties? The nature of relationship with them. Whether they've entered into any related party transaction, उनको पूछो. And do they have any controls for related party? कई बार हमारे controls होंगे to identify a related party transaction, account for it appropriately, make sure they are disclosed in notes, उसके control होंगे. Plus related party के साथ transaction करने के लिए some approvals. तो are they authorized, approved, उसके भी controls होंगे. And if something is outside the normal course होता है तो कई बार special approval भी हो सकते हैं. So what does entity do? You understand that. Second, you remain alert. Third, you discuss with your team. Okay, now you're identified basically risky area. Evaluate करो. इसमें से क्या कोई significant risk है, नहीं है? And now come out with your responses. So first you identify risky area, then you evaluate it. Now you come out with your responses. Now responses में they're given three things. One, you identify a related party which was previously unidentified by management, or you identify a related party transaction which was undisclosed by management. आपने related party identify करी जो management ने नहीं करी थी, or you identify a related party transaction which was not disclosed by management. तो क्या करें? Promptly communicate to your team member. Sir, कुछ मिला? Second, ask the management, sir, अगर हमें पता चला ये related party है या ये related party transaction है, why your system was not able to identify it? That you ask management, and tell the management to give me all transaction with that party. They are not disclosed. तो कहना चाहिए यहाँ पे कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकती है. Request management to give all transaction with that party and ask why they were not able to identify. Tell your team member to check all the transaction with that party in detail है ना. Reconsider the risk. अच्छा ये कुछ मिला तो यार now reconsider क्या risk ज्यादा है. Do I need to do some extra procedures? And अगर non-disclosure appears intentional, अगर आपको बाद में पता चला मैनेजमेंट ने जानबूझ के नहीं बताया था, तो can I say that's appearing intentional? Now you evaluate the implication on your audit. तो एक जगह management is hiding something, they might have hid it at other places also. To evaluate the implications on your audit, including your opinion. अच्छा, तो this is something you identified something या you saw something जो management ने नहीं दिखाया था. Second, if you identify significant related party transaction which are outside normal course. हमने significant related party transaction देखे, but वो कैसे outside the routine course, normal course नहीं है. अच्छा, now मुझे बताओ, normally we don't pay commission to anyone, but we have paid commission to director's son. Normally तो किसी को नहीं देते हैं. बट अभी डायरेक्टर के सन को दिया, कैन आई से इट्स आउटसाइड द नॉर्मल कोर्स? इन दैट केस व्हाट शुड आई डू? You inspect the underlying agreement देखो and evaluate the business rationale, क्यों किया business rationale, and does it suggest a fraudulent financial reporting, profit कम करने के लिए या something like that? See that the terms are consistent with the management explanation. Management आपको explanation देगा, the terms of contract are matching with management explanation, and third, they have been appropriately accounted, disclosed, and this is outside the normal course. ये outside the normal course है, तो obtain evidence that they are appropriately authorized and approved. तो अगर क्वेश्चन आया outside normal course only this, तो A and B both are important. ये क्वेश्चन and the above one both are important. अच्छा, अगर मैनेजमेंट इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग के ट्रांजैक्शंस आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस पे है, तो ऑब्टेन एविडेंस दैट दे आर एट आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस. क्या करना है? दैट्स नॉट गिवन. Okay, now you identified risky area, you evaluated it, then you responded to it. आपने प्रोसीजर्स कर ली, अब आपको एविडेंस मिल गया, you checked everything, evaluate. क्या अकाउंटिंग बराबर हुआ है, डिस्क्लोजर बराबर हुआ है? अच्छा, टेक इट इन राइटिंग आल्सो फ्रॉम मैनेजमेंट से एक रिटन रिप्रेजेंटेशन ले लो कि उन्होंने जितने भी रिलेटेड पार्टी के बारे में दे वर नोइंग, दे हैव कम्युनिकेटेड टू यू, दे आर नॉट हाइडिंग एनीथिंग फ्रॉम अस. ठीक है, एंड डू योर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. डन. अच्छा, नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. How can an auditor verify the existence of related party? Related party है नहीं, कहां से पता चलेगा? 1. The prior period financials. Second, shareholder register, investment register, statement of conflict जो directors या TCWG ने फाइल किए होंगे. Like suppose अगर directors son को goods बेचने हैं ना, तो we are deciding whether to sell the goods to director son or not. तो board meeting में वो director खुद present नहीं हो सकता है, वो interested transaction हो गया. So these are all areas जहां से आपको पता चलेगा who is a related party. Next one, SA 560 is subsequent event. Next one, SA 560 is subsequent event. Okay, now accounting standard 4. AS4 is event occurring after the balance sheet date. As per AS4, event occurring after balance sheet date क्या है? There are those significant events, both favorable and unfavorable, which occurs after the balance sheet date till the books are approved by approving authority. कब होते हैं वो? After balance sheet date till the books are approved by approving authority, उसको बोलेंगे subsequent event. Now, subsequent event दो टाइप के होते हैं, adjusting, non-adjusting. Adjusting events are those which provides additional evidence as to the circumstances prevalent on balance sheet date. Non-adjusting event are those which do not provide additional evidence as to the circumstances existing on balance sheet date. For example, 28 मार्च को fire happened. 28th March there is a fire. अच्छा, 4th April को claim approve हुआ. तो वैसे claim जो 4th April को approve हो रहा है, it gives a additional evidence as to the circumstances prevalent on balance sheet date. वो adjusting event है. तो सपोज 31st मार्च को मैंने कुछ प्रोविजन किया था, 4th को पता चल गया एक्चुअल कितना आएगा, तो प्रोविजन को चेंज कर दो. इट कैन बी फेवरेबल और अनफेवरेबल, अप डाउन दोनों अलाउड. बट सपोज फायर हैपेंड ऑन 4th April. Suppose fire happened on 4th April. If there's a fire on 4th April, तो can I say it's a non-adjusting event because 31st March को ऐसा कुछ था ही नहीं. चंदू, just refresh from your side. यहाँ से everything is fine. तो सर कोई नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है? आंसर इज नो. जस्ट रिफ्रेश फ्रॉम योर साइड एक बार. ओके, नाउ SA 560 में सब्सिक्वेंट इवेंट क्या है? तो वन सब्सिक्वेंट इवेंट इज फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट एंड से लेके ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट तक, नॉट टिल द बुक्स आर अप्रूव्ड बाय अप्रूविंग अथॉरिटी. AS4 में from the balance sheet date till the books are approved by approving authority. यहाँ पे from balance sheet date to the date of audit report. तो आपको adjusting event adjust हो गए कि नहीं, that you need to see. अच्छा, adjusting event अभी भी adjust करने. Non-adjusting event if material, management can disclose it in BOD report. फिर से बताता हूँ, BOD report में not in notes to accounts. So as an auditor हमें just check करना है all adjusting events have been adjusted or not. That's one. And second, अगर कुछ पता चला after the date of audit report देने के बाद, तो one thing is from balance sheet date to the date of audit report. Second is after the date of audit report, if I find something, what to do? That is covered over here. So one, obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that anything which requires adjustment or disclosure are appropriately reflected, and respond appropriately to a fact becoming known to auditor after the date of audit report. Acha, requirement number one. First one important. First, whether adjusting events are properly adjusted or not, उसके लिए क्या करेंगे? उसके लिए क्या करेंगे? One, obtain understanding of what management does. मैनेजमेंट से पूछो क्या कोई सब्सिक्वेंट इवेंट हुआ है. रीड द मिनट्स ऑफ बीओडी मीटिंग. सी अगर फायर हुआ 4 अप्रैल को, कैन आई से बोर्ड विल मीट. रीड द लेटेस्ट बजट्स, लेटेस्ट इंटरिम फाइनेंशियल्स. अगर फायर हुआ ये वो तो कैन आई से बजट्स विल बी चेंज्ड एक्सेट्रा. इंक्वायर विद द लॉयर. लॉयर को पूछो सर इज देयर एनी चेंज इन स्टेटस ऑफ केस आफ्टर ईयर एंड बिफोर बुक्स आर अप्रूव्ड. तो केस ऑलरेडी चल रहा था, इट्स एडजस्टिंग इवेंट, एंड टेक अ रिप्रेजेंटेशन दैट ऑल सब्सिक्वेंट इवेंट जो जरूरी थे दे ऑलरेडी टोल्ड टू यू एंड दे अप्रोप्रिएटली डेल्ट विद इट. दिस इज व्हाट वी डू फॉर डिसाइडिंग एडजस्टिंग इवेंट्स आर अप्रोप्रिएटली एडजस्टेड. जुलाई 21 एग्जाम दिस वाज आस्क्ड. ओके, नेक्स्ट, फैक्ट बिकमिंग नोन टू ऑडिटर. कब आपको पता चला? आफ्टर द डेट ऑफ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. अच्छा, मैंने रिपोर्ट दे दिया, उसके बाद आई कम अक्रॉस अ फैक्ट. इफ इट वाज नोन अर्लियर आई वुड हैव गिवन अ डिफरेंट ओपिनियन. नाउ यहाँ पे देयर आर टू थिंग्स. यू केम टू नो अबाउट इट बिफोर द फाइनेंशियल्स आर इशूड, or you came to know about it after the financials are issued. Financials are given to shareholders with the notice of AGM. I repeat, financial shareholders को कब देते हैं? Notice of AGM. The first financials are prepared, BOD approve करते हैं, BOD approve करने के बाद auditor will audit it, then they are given to shareholders. मैंने audit करके report दे दिया, but before they are issued we found something. Okay, we found something. What to do? First of all, communicate with management, discuss the matter with management, see whether financial needs amendment and what management wants to do. Are they ready to amend? Agar management is ready to amend, check the amended financial, give a new report on amended. Sir, old report, take it back, tear it, put it in dustbin. Check the amendment, give a new report on amended, and shareholder को directly amended financials, amended report मिलेगा because they were not yet issued. ठीक है, बट अगर मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट रेडी टू अमेंड तो टेल मैनेजमेंट सर डोंट सर्कुलेट माय ओल्ड रिपोर्ट. अच्छा, अगर आपने रिपोर्ट बनाया था दिया नहीं था, अगर रिपोर्ट बनाया था दिया नहीं था तो मॉडिफाई एंड गिव. अगर ऑलरेडी दे दिया था टेल मैनेजमेंट नॉट टू सर्कुलेट ओल्ड फाइनेंशियल, ओल्ड रिपोर्ट. स्टिल इफ दे सर्कुलेट, टेक अप्रोप्रिएट एक्शन टू प्रिवेंट रिलायंस ऑन योर रिपोर्ट. यू कैन अटेंड AGM, टेल इट एट AGM कि मेरा रिपोर्ट जो आपको मिला है दैट्स नॉट करेक्ट. आई टोल्ड द मैनेजमेंट नॉट टू सर्कुलेट, स्टिल उन्होंने सर्कुलेट किया. So my new report is lying on the table. ठीक है. Fact becoming known after financials are issued. ओ बाप रे, distribute हो गए financials. Financial distribute हो गए, फिर पता चला. अब क्या करें? First discuss with management, see whether financial needs amendment, how management want to deal with the matter. अगर management is ready to amend, याद है? As per section 131, management can voluntarily revise the financial statement. अगर कुछ गलती है वॉलंटरी रिवीजन हो सकता है. तो दे आर रेडी टू अमेंड, तो कैरी आउट द प्रोसीजर ऑन अमेंडमेंट्स, गिव अ न्यू रिपोर्ट ऑन अमेंडमेंट. अच्छा सर, ओल्ड रिपोर्ट शुड आई टेक इट बैक? नहीं, इट्स ऑलरेडी सर्कुलेटेड, तो आई नीड टू डू वन एक्स्ट्रा थिंग. What is one extra thing? Review the steps taken by management to ensure जिन लोगों को old financials, old report मिले, they are informed about situation. Review the steps taken by management to ensure those who have got the old report, old financials are informed about the situation that we are coming out with a new report. Clear? And Chandan, we can revise for last 3 years maximum voluntarily. Voluntary 3 years. Court या tribunal के order है तो 8 years के लिए revision allowed. Next, अगर management is not ready to amend, financial needs amendment, they are not amending. तो कैसे indirectly financials are not showing a true and fair view. हमारा report गलत चला गया. Take appropriate action to prevent reliance on your report. Question number 3, inquiry with management. आप management से inquiry कर रहे हो, that is helpful to evaluate subsequent event. What specific inquiry you can do? तो subsequent event के लिए कौन सी specific inquiry कर सकते हैं? So whether any new commitment, borrowings, etc. are taken after year end before books are approved. क्या amalgamation, merger, demerger happened after year end before books are approved. Whether new shares, debentures are issued after year end before books are approved. क्या change in litigation है after year end before books are approved. Whether any flood, fire, earthquake, drought, ये वो asset taken away by government, anything has happened after year end before books are approved. These are specific inquiries related to subsequent event. Next one, SA 570 is going concern. Next one, SA570 is going concern. Okay, going concern, we know it's one of the fundamental accounting assumption. अच्छा, अगर आप going concern हो, you are a going concern, तो accounts are prepared on going concern basis. So see, assets are depreciated over their life. तो AC है, AC का life 5 years, we depreciate over 5 years. We don't think business 5 years होगा कि नहीं, because it's assumed business is going to go on. But अगर आपको लग रहा है कि we will not be there for 5 years, तो can I say we cannot prepare accounts based on going concern? अगर accounts are not prepared on going concern, they will be prepared on a totally different basis, जिसको बोलते हैं liquidation approach. And under liquidation approach, all your assets will appear at NRV. अच्छा, who has to make an assessment कि हम लोग going concern है या नहीं? Who has to make an assessment हम लोग going concern है या नहीं, sir? Management. Yes, management has to make an assessment हम लोग going concern है या नहीं. And अगर they make an assessment and they feel that they are going concern, then they need to use going concern basis of accounting. तो वो going concern basis of accounting use करे. तो management has to consider whether they are going concern or not. वो management को assess करना है. तो check. मैनेजमेंट हैज टू मेक एन असेसमेंट. अच्छा, वो मैनेजमेंट जब असेस कर रहा है कि हम लोग गोइंग कंसर्न है या नहीं, कैन आई से दे हैव टू मेक जजमेंट्स अबाउट अनसर्टेन फ्यूचर इवेंट. तो मैनेजमेंट को असेस करते टाइम दे हैव टू मेक जजमेंट्स अबाउट अनसर्टेन फ्यूचर इवेंट्स आउटकम्स. अच्छा, तो उसके लिए कौन से फैक्टर्स रेलेवेंट है? तो एक जजमेंट डिपेंड करेगा, तो दिस जजमेंट गेट्स डिपेंडेंट ऑन व्हाट इज द डिग्री ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी, size and complexity, external factors कितने affect कर रहे हैं, and whatever judgment you are taking, can I say you're taking judgment based on information available today? यार, जब मैं आज ले रहा हूँ, आज war नहीं था, तो I felt everything fine. After 10 days war हुआ, तो can I say judgment will differ after 10 days? This is basically the factors which are considered while making that judgment. तो मैनेजमेंट डिसाइड करता है whether they are going concern or not. उसके लिए they have to make judgment about uncertain future outcome. What are the factors relevant to judgment? ठीक है. अच्छा, objective is we have to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about appropriateness of management's use of going concern assumption. मैनेजमेंट ने गोइंग कंसर्न assumption यूज किया, क्या वो appropriate है या नहीं. Second, we need to see are there any material uncertainties which create a doubt on entity's ability to continuous going concern. For example, आपका फैक्ट्री रेसिडेंशियल एरिया में, earlier when you started there was no residence. You started factory 30 years back, पूरा barren land था, कोई residence नहीं था. अब residence आ गए. And now people have started complaining, residential area में factory है, pollution कर रही है, please shut down the factory. अब litigation चल रहा है. Now you are doing a valid business, you have all valid approvals, but our residents have started complaining. So can I say you may be required to shut off? We don't know, litigation है. So can I say there's a material uncertainty? Litigation हार जाएंगे, we may have to shut down, we have to go outskirts में. अगर जीत गए तो we'll continue. We don't know. That's a material uncertainty. ठीक है. And third, how do we report? ठीक है. Now coming over here, requirement number 1, risk assessment procedure. Again, so फिर से आ गया. Yeah, you identify risky areas where there can be a going concern issue. I'm not telling there is, where there can be. And remember, ये risky area identify करने के लिए we obtain understanding of entity, environment, internal control. तो इसके लिए what we should do? You obtain understanding of the management's assessment. या the management ने evaluate किया होगा क्या वो going concern है या नहीं. And अगर they are going concern, they would have used going concern base of accounting. तो अगर management has performed the assessment, you try to discuss the assessment with the management, understand करो management का assessment, and also evaluate क्या कोई material uncertainty है या नहीं. अगर management ने assessment नहीं किया, तो उनको पूछो भैया then why are you telling you are going concern? If management has not done assessment, ask them why are they telling you are a going concern, and just try to understand that. So one, risk assessment procedure may understand the management's assessment. Second, remain alert. Look for the indicators. Look for the indicators. 3 type के indicators: financial, operational, other. Financial indicator is problem relating to money. Constant losses है. Loan is approaching maturity, पैसा नहीं है पे करने के लिए. Creditor has stopped giving you goods on credit. वो financial. Operational is related to operation. Raw material not available. लेबर का डिफिकल्टी है, वन ऑफ द केएमपी, वन मेन पर्सन लेफ्ट, वो सारे ऑपरेशनल इश्यू है। अदर इंडिकेटर रिलेट्स टू गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी, लिटिगेशंस, वो सारी चीजें। सपोज दैट वी आर इन रेसिडेंशियल एरिया वाला एग्जांपल, वो अदर इंडिकेटर्स में आ जाएगा। तो हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई रिस्की एरिया? वन, इवैल्यूएट और अंडरस्टैंड मैनेजमेंट असेसमेंट, वो मैनेजमेंट का असेसमेंट अंडरस्टैंड करना है, अंडरस्टैंड रिस्क असेसमेंट में अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एंड देन रिमेनिंग अलर्ट, लुक फॉर इंडिकेटर्स। इंडिकेटर मिला डजंट मीन देयर इज अ गोइंग कंसर्न इशू, देयर कैन बी, बिकॉज कोई एक नेगेटिव इंडिकेटर है, देयर माइट बी अ पॉजिटिव इंडिकेटर। लेबर प्रॉब्लम है, ठीक है, वी फाउंड अ मशीन व्हिच कैन डू द वर्क, ठीक है। अब हमने पहले मैनेजमेंट के असेसमेंट को अंडरस्टैंड किया, अब इवैल्यूएट करो। एंड मैनेजमेंट असेसमेंट हैज टू कवर अ मिनिमम ऑफ 12 मंथ्स। मैनेजमेंट असेसमेंट हैज टू कवर 12 मंथ्स। अब इवैल्यूएट द मैनेजमेंट असेसमेंट। अच्छा सर, मैनेजमेंट ने इवैल्यूएट किया है, दे मेड अ असेसमेंट फॉर नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स, आई वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आफ्टर 12 मंथ्स। अगर मुझे समझना है व्हाट आफ्टर 12 मंथ्स पीरियड बियॉन्ड मैनेजमेंट असेसमेंट, यू कैन इंक्वायर विद द अप्रोप्रिएट लेवल ऑफ मैनेजमेंट। सर 12 महीने बाद क्या, सपोज ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रिन्यू नहीं हुआ तो क्या, you can sit with them. Fourth point important, indicators important, inter-level indicators important, ये fourth point. तो indicators थे to identify areas where there can be a going concern issue. अगर आपको going concern issue मिल गए, तो पहले तो लगा there can be going concern issue, अब आपको going concern issue मिल गए, तो अब आप क्या करेंगे? Additional audit procedures when event or condition are identified. मिल गए। अच्छा, अगर मैनेजमेंट ने असेसमेंट नहीं किया है वो टॉपिक का, टेल देम टू मेक अ डिटेल असेसमेंट। अगर मैनेजमेंट ऑलरेडी हैज अ प्लान, उनका कुछ प्लान है, इवैल्यूएट whether the plan is feasible, workable or not. Okay, अगर they prepared a cash flow forecast, कुछ forecast बनाया है, तो evaluate the data used in forecast and उसमें assumptions है क्या वो reasonable है या नहीं. Plus any subsequent event. See, management might have done an assessment on a particular date. उस दिन से लेके till today, are there any changes? And take a representation from management that whatever plan they are telling, they are really going to follow the plan. It's not just for the sake of telling. Next is your conclusion. If you feel going concern assumption inappropriate, you already filed for insolvency. आपने already insolvency file कर दी है, still you are preparing accounts going concern. Can I say absolutely wrong? Insolvency file करी, still account going concern, absolutely full wrong. Direct adverse opinion, not qualified. अच्छा, अगर मटीरियल अनसर्टेनिटी है, लिटिगेशन चल रहा है, एंड they clearly written about it in note, very detailed note. अच्छा, तो they followed going concern. बट लिटिगेशन है, वो environmental issue के लिए residents have filed a complaint. We are as per law correct. But अब क्या होगा decision we don't know. They have written that in note. तो can I say financial statement shows a true and fair view. If adequate disclosure is made, तो आप क्लीन रिपोर्ट दो with one extra para drawing attention to that note. Clean report with an extra para drawing attention to that note, जिसको बोलेंगे material uncertainty related to going concern para. इसको emphasis of matter para नहीं बोलेंगे. It is as per SA 570, not as per 706. तो अगर adequate disclosure of material uncertainty is there in financial, clean report with extra para. अगर adequate disclosure नहीं है, material uncertainty related to going concern, adequate disclosure नहीं, okay disclosure है, qualified disclosure है ही नहीं, uncertainty related going concern का disclosure नहीं है, one disclosure not there but it's a very big thing, going concern वाला issue, then you can give a adverse report also, qualified or adverse as appropriate. ठीक है, this is related to your SA 570. This is an example of how do we have the material uncertainty related to going concern para. This comes when there is a material uncertainty, उन्होंने appropriately disclose किया है. I give a clean report drawing attention. See, we draw your attention to note number 10 of financial statement, which indicates company को ये loss हुआ है. This is already disclosed in this note, and we are not modifying the report. हम report modify नहीं कर रहे, हम आपका सिर्फ attention draw कर रहे हैं इस problem पे. ठीक है, then now इसमें questions are fine. Come to SA 580. Come to SA 580. Okay, SA 580 is representations by management. It is written representation. Representations by management. Every SA, बहुत सारे SA में था take a representation, do your documentation. Documentation के लिए we already did SA 230. वो हो गया। अब रिप्रेजेंटेशंस के लिए, रिप्रेजेंटेशंस बाय मैनेजमेंट, वी हैव अ सेपरेट एसे। तो ये क्या है? दिस आर अ रिटन स्टेटमेंट बाय मैनेजमेंट टू द ऑडिटर. It's by management to auditor to confirm certain matters or support other audit evidence. So question, whether representation by management is audit evidence? Yes. Are they sufficient appropriate audit evidence? No. They are just to confirm certain matters or support other audit evidence. ठीक है, coming to requirement, objective is fine. First, you need to decide from whom do you need a representation. किसके पास से representation चाहिए? Number two, you have to take representation about management responsibility. आपको रिप्रेजेंटेशन लेना है अबाउट मैनेजमेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. इसमें दो चीजें. वन, मैनेजमेंट बिलीव्स they have fulfilled their responsibility for preparation presentation of financial statement. Management believes they have fulfilled their responsibility for preparation presentation of financial statement as per the applicable financial reporting framework. And number two, they have completely given all information to you. ठीक है. प्लस यू हैव टू टेक अदर रिप्रेजेंटेशन. तो एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन अबाउट मैनेजमेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, दूसरा अदर रिप्रेजेंटेशन. अदर्स कौन से? जहां पे एसए ने बोला एंड वेयर एवर यू नीड अ सपोर्टिंग एविडेंस. जहां जहां एसए ने बोला प्लस वेयर यू नीड अ सपोर्टिंग एविडेंस. अच्छा, डेट एंड पीरियड कवर्ड बाय रिप्रेजेंटेशन. तो रिप्रेजेंटेशन में इट शुड बी ऑफ विच डेट? अच्छा, रिप्रेजेंटेशन का डेट शुड बी एज नियर एज प्रैक्टिकल बट नॉट लेटर देन द डेट ऑफ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट. See, हम लोग रिप्रेजेंटेशन ले रहे हैं कि मैनेजमेंट बिलीव्स दे हैव फुलफिल्ड देयर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी फॉर प्रिपरेशन प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. तो व्हेन आई से टिल फाइनेंशियल्स आर ओवर, दैट रिप्रेजेंटेशन कैन नॉट बी गिवन. तो कब लेना है? एज नियर एज बट नॉट लेटर देन द डेट ऑफ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, है ना. हमारे फाइनेंशियल्स में दो फिगर है, करंट ईयर, प्रीवियस ईयर. फाइनेंशियल्स में दो फिगर है. वेदर ऑडिटर रिपोर्ट्स ओनली ऑन करंट ईयर और बोथ. Whether auditor reports only on current year or both, there are two approaches. वो हम SS 710 में learn करेंगे. If you are reporting on both figure, take a representation for both figure. If you are reporting only on current year, take a representation only for current year figure. Next, the form of representation, it should be on a letterhead of a company. किसके letterhead पे होना चाहिए? Company के letterhead पे होना चाहिए. And basically, it should contain the matters covered above, signed by authorized person. अच्छा, अगर आपने representation मांगा, they gave you, but आपको डाउट लग रहा है कि representation is wrong, or you asked a representation they did not give you. 6 point important. One, they gave a representation, doubt है. Second, they did not give only the representation. अच्छा, अगर representation दिया डाउट है तो क्या करें? See, if I have a doubt about competence, integrity of management, अगर मुझे integrity of management पे ही डाउट होगा तो कैसे representation पे भी डाउट आएगा. Plus, if representation is inconsistent with other evidence, you need to perform extra procedure to resolve the matter. And अगर आप resolve नहीं कर पाए matter, तो भी आपको doubt आएगा representation पे, and then you also doubt the competence, integrity of management. And if you conclude कि representation reliable नहीं है, अगर आपने conclude किया कि representation reliable नहीं है, you need to take appropriate action, including adding your procedures or even modifying your report. This is when you have a doubt over representation. Second, आपको representation दिया ही नहीं, you are asking, they are not giving. So one, discuss the matter with management, re-evaluate the integrity. यार नहीं दे रहे, कुछ दाल में काला है. Re-evaluate the integrity of management, take appropriate action, including modifying your opinion. Done. This was your SA 580. Come to 600. This was your SA 580. Come to 600. Now actually 600 आपके syllabus में नहीं है. 600 is not in your syllabus, but thoda content of 600 is given with some chapters, so I'm covering it. Using the work of another auditor का meaning होता है branch auditor. Repeat, another auditor का meaning is branch auditor. So if I am a main auditor, I'll report on entire company including branch. मैं report करूंगा entire company including branch. तो कैसे I'm relying on the work of branch auditor, मैं उसके work पे rely करूंगा. अच्छा, I will be relying. So question, if I use the work of branch auditor, am I responsible for the work done by branch auditor? Am I responsible for the work done by branch auditor? Ordinarily or normally, no. You are not responsible for the work done by branch auditor. Branch auditor's work is only his responsibility. But मुझे ये बताओ, अगर मुझे doubt है उसके work पे, there were circumstances which should have raised or which should have created a suspicion in my mind कि इसका work बराबर नहीं है, then should I rely on him? अगर ऐसे circumstances थे which has created a doubt कि इसका वर्क बराबर नहीं है, then should I rely? No. And if you still rely, तो आप reliable. मतलब then you will be liable. Otherwise, normally you are not liable. अच्छा, should I need to see that the branch auditor का work is adequate for my purpose? उसका वर्क मेरे लिए adequate है क्या, वो मुझे देखना पड़ेगा? Yes. That you need to see. You see, the principal auditor would normally be entitled to rely unless अगर आपको doubt लगे तो मत rely करो. And you don't check his professional competence if he's a member of ICI. Member of ICI, then don't check his professional competence. You need to evaluate उसका work is adequate for your purpose. उसके लिए क्या करो? उसका work adequate है आपके लिए, उसके लिए क्या करो? You can advise the other auditor what is the use of his work. आप उसका work कैसे use करोगे उसको बोलो. उसके रिपोर्ट का क्या यूज है उसको बोलो, so that he does the work accordingly. Plus important कौन से matters है, you tell him the significant accounting, auditing, reporting requirements. Sir, Ind AS के हिसाब से चेक करना, सर कारो रिपोर्ट भी देना. I need to tell all that things to him. ठीक है. Plus can I ask for documentation of branch auditor? Or can I tell him give me a copy of your documentation? No. Branch auditor's documentation are his property. वो नहीं मांग सकता. अच्छा, can I get some information from branch auditor? Yes. Can I visit branches? Yes. Can I do supplementary test audit? Yes. अच्छा, can I tell branch auditor to fill a checklist ताकि मुझे पता चले उसने क्या क्या कवर किया है? Can I tell him to fill a checklist? Answer is yes. You can tell him to fill a questionnaire or a checklist जिससे आपको पता चले how he has done the work. Okay, coming to division of responsibility, you will not be responsible for the work entrusted to other auditor except in circumstances which should have aroused suspicion about his work and still आपने rely किया तो ही आप responsible हो. अच्छा, अगर आप branch auditor पे rely नहीं कर सकते, you don't have a time to go and do it. आपके पास टाइम नहीं है जाने के लिए, you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence branch के लिए. In that case, you will give a modified report. Then SS610 using the work of internal auditor. अच्छा, अगर कंपनी ने internal auditor रखा हुआ है, can I use the work of internal auditor? Yes, you can use, but question, अगर मैं internal auditor पे rely कर रहा हूँ, would I be responsible for the portion which I've relied on him? ब्रांच ऑडिटर पे रिलाई करता था तो उसके वर्क के लिए आई एम नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल, बट इंटरनल ऑडिटर पे रिलाई करो, वुड यू बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल? यस, यू हैव अ सोल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. आपका सोल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है फॉर द ओपिनियन एक्सप्रेस. अगर आप इंटरनल ऑडिटर पे रिलाई करो, वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज नॉट रिड्यूस. रीजन, वो यार मैनेजमेंट का बंदा है, वो मैनेजमेंट का बंदा है. इफ यू रिलाई ऑन हिम, रिलाई एट योर ओन रिस्क. 100% रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी विल बी ऑफ योर्स ओनली. ओके, नाउ यहाँ पे दो चीजें हैं. वन, management has hired internal auditor. He has checked some 10 areas. He has checked some 10 areas for management, and I want to use any 1-2 areas of it. So using the work performed by internal audit function, उसने then 10 areas check किया, उसमें से कोई एक दो चीज. Second, I want him to check 11th area for me. I want him to check 11th area for me. इसको बोलते हैं using internal auditor to provide direct assistance. दोनों allowed है. You can use work of internal audit function. Second, you can use internal auditor to provide direct assistance to you. Check 11th area for you. Okay, the first, determining whether, which areas, what extent, we can use the work of internal audit function. उसने 10 work किए, 10 में से एक दो can I use? Determining. So determining whether, which areas, what extent. Okay, whether के लिए evaluate the internal audit function. Okay, I need to see उसका organizational status, like does he report to higher level, does he report to lower level, उसका organization में status क्या है, and his policies and procedures, does it support objectivity, तो क्या उसने objectively, unbiasedly काम किया है. Second, उसका level of competence, and do they have a systematic disciplined approach. If they are able to work objectively, they have a good competence, they have a disciplined approach, then I can rely. So determining whether to use, उसके लिए 3 factors. अच्छा, which areas, what extent, I can use their work. Which areas, what extent के लिए first understand उन्होंने क्या क्या काम किया है, to understand the nature and scope of work of them. Plus, you should use less of their work, do more of yourself. Even after using, you should be sufficiently involved in audit. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए ज्यादातर आपने rely कर दिया. Even after using, you should be sufficiently involved in audit. And अगर आप plan कर रहे हो to rely on his work, you need to first communicate to TCWG. So determining whether के लिए evaluate internal audit function. which areas what extent, understand which areas they have covered, use less, do it more yourself, even after using sufficiently involved होने चाहिए, and if you decided you are going to use, communicate first to TCWG. तो ये था डिसाइडिंग वेदर विच एरियाज व्हाट एक्सटेंट वी कैन यूज द वर्क ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिट फंक्शन. अब अगर हम यूज कर रहे हैं, पहले तो डिसाइड करना था, अब कर लिया डिसाइड, अब मैं यूज कर रहा हूं. इफ आई एम यूजिंग दैट वर्क, डू आई नीड टू सी दैट उनका वर्क मेरे लिए एडेक्वेट है? डू आई नीड टू सी कि उनका वर्क मेरे लिए एडेक्वेट है? हाँ ठीक है, वो दो एरियाज, बट मेरे लिए एडेक्वेट होना चाहिए. तो आई नीड टू डिस्कस द प्लान्ड यूज ऑफ वर्क विद इंटरनल ऑडिटर. उसके रिपोर्ट्स पढ़ो, उसके रिपोर्ट पढ़ो, एंड यू ऑब्टेन सफिशिएंट अप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट एविडेंस कि हिज वर्क इज एडेक्वेट फॉर योर पर्पस. उसके लिए आई नीड टू सी व्हाट इंटरनल ऑडिटर का वर्क वाज प्रॉपर्ली प्लान्ड, परफॉर्म, डायरेक्टेड, सुपरवाइज, रिव्यूड, डॉक्यूमेंटेड. उसने वर्क बराबर किया था. Sufficient appropriate audit evidence were obtained by him and conclusion reached by him were proper or not. तो मुझे देखना पड़ेगा उसने वर्क बराबर किया है कि नहीं. उसने वर्क बराबर किया तो मेरे लिए एडेक्वेट है. अच्छा, टुगेदर विद रिलाइंग ऑन हिम, कैन आई से आई विल आल्सो डू समथिंग एल्स? उस पे रिलाई करने के साथ साथ आई कैन आल्सो डू समथिंग एल्स. तो व्हाट आई नीड टू डू, तो एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटर की ऑडिट प्रोसीजर विल डिपेंड ऑन एक एरिया में जजमेंट कितना है. If judgment involved is more, I'll be doing something else also. Risk involved is more, I'll be doing something else also. If I feel उसने objectively काम नहीं किया, I'll be doing something else also. If I feel उसका competence नहीं था, I'll be doing something else also. तो my procedures कितनी होगी together with relying depends on following. Next, determining whether which areas, what extent we can use internal auditor to provide direct assistance. क्या मैं उसके पास से direct assistance ले सकता हूँ? Determine. अच्छा, तो डिटरमाइन करने के लिए टू थिंग्स. व्हाट आर द थ्रेट्स टू ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, कि उसने ऑब्जेक्टिवली काम नहीं किया होगा. थ्रेट्स टू ऑब्जेक्टिविटी एंड कॉम्पिटेंस, ये दो चीज देखो. तो डिटरमाइन वेदर आई कैन यूज हिम टू प्रोवाइड डायरेक्ट असिस्टेंस. तो क्या मैं उसे असिस्टेंट की तरह रख सकता हूं? तो आई हैव टू सी वेदर विल बी एबल टू वर्क ऑब्जेक्टिवली, एंड मुझे जो चीज के लिए उसका हेल्प चाहिए, वेदर ही हैज द कॉम्पिटेंस. दिस आर द टू मेन थिंग्स फॉर डिटरमाइनिंग वेदर. नाउ व्हिच एरिया व्हाट एक्सटेंट, which area what extent, तो उसके लिए they clearly said you should not use him. कहाँ पे use नहीं करना है? Where there are significant judgment है, don't use him. Second, higher risk of material misstatement, जहाँ पे higher risk of material misstatement है, don't use him as assistant, do it yourself. Third, work relates to work done by him, उसी ने किया था, I cannot tell him to check his work. And fourth decision जो मुझे लेने हैं as per this essay. And I say as per this essay, I need to decide how much to rely on internal auditor. I cannot tell him only, sir, you tell me how much I should rely on you. वो मुझे decision लेना है. So this works cannot be given to him. Risk is high, judgment is high, work is done by him only. I cannot tell him to check his work. And if you decided to use him as direct assistant, पहले communicate करो. अच्छा, if using, अगर आप उसे use कर रहे हो as assistant, तो can I say now 11th area he will check for me, मेरे लिए check करेगा. Take a representation from management, they will not interfere. Take a representation from internal auditor, he will maintain confidentiality. And third, you direct, supervise, review his work because he's working as your assistant. Okay, this is basically your SA 610. 620 is not in our syllabus, going to 700. Reporting. is reporting. SA 700 is on reporting. Now, why do you need a format of audit report? अगर सब लोग अपने तरह रिपोर्ट बनाए तो it will be kind of essay writing. याद है स्कूल में essay writing, everybody writes their own essay. और वो टीचर को पूरा पढ़ना पड़ेगा, एक एक लाइन तब पता चलेगा. But if there's a proper format, like this thing is covered here, this thing is covered here, this thing is covered here, can I say users will be able to identify unusual things fast? So this essay promotes consistency in audit report. उसके साथ साथ it also gives you a flexibility. And ये इसके कारण क्या होगा? If you have a similar audit report, it promotes global credibility, and users will be able to understand the unusual circumstances faster. अगर question आया that essay 700 aims at addressing appropriate balance between consistency and comparability, explain. This point is the answer. अच्छा, objectives दो है. One, you are required to form an opinion, then clearly express your opinion through a written report. अच्छा, हम जो रिपोर्ट करते हैं इट्स ऑन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, एंड ये जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट है, दे आर जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. दे आर प्रिपेयर्ड यूजिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन नीड ऑफ वाइड रेंज ऑफ यूजर्स. जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट कोई स्पेसिफिक के लिए नहीं है, इट इज फॉर अ वाइड रेंज ऑफ यूजर्स. हाँ, अगर if I prepare financial statement based on a particular need of a particular person, उसको बोलेंगे special purpose financial statement. तो यहाँ पे जो फॉर्मेट है that's for general purpose financial statement, but अगर आप स्पेशल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट पे रिपोर्ट कर रहे हो तो ये फॉर्मेट कैन बी अडॉप्टेड. अच्छा, who has to prepare financial statement? सब मैनेजमेंट. अच्छा, तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बनाने के दो तरीके. द फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क में बी टू टाइप्स. एक होता है कंप्लायंस फ्रेमवर्क, फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन. अंडर कंप्लायंस फ्रेमवर्क मैनेजमेंट प्रिपेयर्स फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट कंप्लाइंग विद लॉ या कंप्लाइंग विद XYZ प्रोविजंस ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. They're preparing financials complying with law, complying with XYZ provisions of the contract. Fair presentation में क्या होगा? Fair presentation में they will comply with law. मैं नहीं बोल रहा वो comply नहीं करेंगे law, but they also accept it may be necessary to give extra disclosures beyond the requirement of law. It may be necessary to give extra disclosures beyond the requirement of law to achieve a better presentation. Or it may be necessary in extreme rare cases to deviate from law, but deviate भी कर रहे हैं to achieve better presentation. वो extremely rare cases. अच्छा, तो fair presentation में you will follow law, but you also accept कि भैया we may be necessary to give extra disclosure. See, Companies Act में always fair presentation framework है. सर कैसे? Schedule 3 has written कि this are the minimum disclosure. याद है Schedule 3 में लिखा है minimum disclosure on face of balance sheet, P&L notes. So they acknowledge that it may be necessary to give extra disclosures. So fair, under your compliance framework, you prepare financial statement complying with the framework. Fair presentation, you comply and you acknowledge it may be necessary to give extra disclosures, or under extremely rare cases, it may be necessary to deviate from requirement of law. And ये बहुत important है. See, अगर management says we have prepared financial as per XYZ laws, तो मेरा report क्या होगा? They are telling we have prepared financial as per XYZ laws. They'll say the financial statement are prepared in all material aspects as per XYZ law. But अगर management बोल रहा है we have followed fair presentation framework, तो word true and fair will come in my report. The word true and fair will come in our report only if it is a fair presentation framework, not compliance framework. Okay, now forming an opinion, then expressing your opinion. Opinion form करने के लिए SA 330 में after doing compliance procedure, substantive procedure, we evaluate क्या sufficient appropriate audit evidence मिला, that, and SA 450 which is not in your syllabus, हमें जो misstatements मिली ना, we communicate to management. Somewhat they correct, somewhat they don't correct. अच्छा, अगर correct हो गई misstatement fine, uncorrected misstatements material है या नहीं. तो we see main two things, क्या आपको sufficient appropriate audit evidence मिला, uncorrected misstatements material है या नहीं. And उसके लिए we evaluate accounting policies are appropriately selected, they are consistently applied, estimates are reasonable, presentation is reliable, relevant, comparable, understandable, disclosures are all adequate, terminology जो use किया वो बराबर है. And अगर वो fair presentation है, तो we try to see overall structure, presentation, content achieves a fair presentation. अच्छा, तो अगर क्वेश्चन आए for forming an opinion, auditor makes specific evaluation. ये C point is the answer. For forming an opinion, you make specific evaluation. November 18 में C point is the answer. This is forming an opinion. अच्छा, if after this evaluation, ये evaluate करने के बाद you conclude, अगर आप conclude करते हो based on audit evidence is obtained, आपने check किया, evidences मिले, you conclude financial statements are not free from material misstatement, it contains a material misstatement, or that you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, तो आप modify करोगे report. Did you understood? Now आपका report का format ये था forming, now expressing your opinion. One is title, independent auditor's report, addressee, appropriate addressee. If I am doing audit of a partnership firm, तो भी ऐसे applicable है. तो पार्टनरशिप फर्म का ऑडिट है, एड्रेसी को क्या होगा, टू पार्टनर्स. फिर आपका ओपिनियन पैरा में दो चीज, ओपिनियन पैरा में टू पैरा, इंट्रो एंड द एक्चुअल ओपिनियन. इंट्रो पैरा में हम क्या लिखते हैं, वी हैव ऑडिटेड द अकम्पनिंग फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एबीसी लिमिटेड which comprises of balance sheet as at this date, statement of P&L and cash flow for year ended on this date, and notes to accounts and a summary of significant accounting policy, other explanatory information. तो आपने क्या किया है वो आप इंट्रो में लिखते हो. फिर आता है एक्चुअल ओपिनियन. अच्छा, अगर अगर इट्स अ फेयर प्रेजेंटेशन फ्रेमवर्क तो ही वर्ड आएगा ट्रू एंड फेयर. तो if you are using fair presentation framework है मैनेजमेंट का, तो you can have one of the following. या तो वर्ड लिखो financial statement presents fairly, या तो you write down financial statement gives a true and fair view. Compliance framework में वर्ड true and fair नहीं आएगा. What do we write? The financial statements are prepared in all material aspect as per XYZ laws of India. ठीक है. फिर आता है basis for opinion para, which is important. Basis for opinion para. What is this basis for opinion para? इसके अंदर 4 जनरल सेंटेंस. 1. Audit was conducted in accordance standard on auditing. हमारा responsibility as per this standard is given in a separate para known as auditor's responsibility para. एक statement देना है, we are independent of the entity. And 4th, we believe that the audit evidence we obtained is sufficient appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. 4 जनरल सेंटेंस. फिर अगर आपको याद हो essay 570, there's a material uncertainty related to going concern, they've adequately disclosed. अगर उन्होंने adequately disclose किया है, तो we used to have an extra para drawing attention, वो यहाँ पे आएगा. Key audit matter is as per essay 701, सिर्फ listed company के लिए. I'll come to this with 701. फिर आएगा management responsibility para. Actually management responsibility para में 3 para, इसके अंदर 3 para. First, management is responsible for preparation of financial statement. अगर it's a fair presentation framework तो लिखेंगे which shows a true and fair view in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework, and they are responsible for designing, implementing, maintaining internal control. ये पहला पैरा. Second para, management is responsible for assessing entities' ability to continue as going concern and using the going concern base of accounting. And third, TCWG has a responsibility of oversight of financial reporting process. ये 3 management responsibility para. अगर कंपनी है तो we'll add also things which are written in director's responsibility statement. तो वो पहले पैरा में add करेंगे things related to director's responsibility statement. Next, auditor's responsibility para, again 3 big para. पहला पैरा में हम लिखते हैं what is our objective. सेकेंड पैरा में हमारी ऑडिट प्रोसीजर कैसे होती है. थर्ड, वी हैव टू कम्युनिकेट फ्यू थिंग्स टू टीसीडब्ल्यूजी. तो 3 पैरा. फर्स्ट, the objective of audit is to obtain a reasonable assurance whether the financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud and error, and issue a report which includes our opinion. तो ऑब्जेक्टिव लिखा. अच्छा, इसमें वर्ड आया रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस. अब एक्सप्लेन करो. रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस इज अ हाई लेवल ऑफ एश्योरेंस बट नॉट अ गारंटी that audit conducted in accordance with SA will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Third, आपका word आया misstatement. तो misstatement can arise due to fraud or error, and individually or in aggregate they can be material if it influences the decisions of users of financial statement. अब audit कैसे होता है? तो while performing audit in accordance with SA, we exercise professional judgment, maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. Whether due to fraud or error, we design and perform audit procedure responsive to those risks, and we obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. We obtain understanding of internal control. क्यों? In order to design audit procedures which are appropriate in circumstances. क्यों control समझते हैं? ताकि दूसरे procedures जो चाहिए बराबरली form कर सके. To design and perform audit procedure appropriate in circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing opinion on control. तो हम control check करते हैं to design procedures appropriate, not for the purpose of expressing opinion on control. But ये line जो underlined है ना, this will not come if we are reporting on IFC. IFC में report कर रहे तो वो नहीं आएगा. Plus we evaluate appropriateness of accounting policies used by management, reasonableness of accounting estimates made by management. We conclude on management's use of going concern base of accounting. And अगर fair presentation framework है तो we also evaluate overall presentation structure content and we see whether it achieves a fair presentation. ये second para हो गया पूरा audit कैसे करते हो. Third para is you have to communicate with TCWG. So we communicate to TCWG amongst other things. क्या? Planned scope and timing, significant audit findings, significant deficiencies in internal control. We also make a statement to TCWG that we have complied with all ethical requirements relating to independence. And last, about key audit matter भी हम उसको communicate करते हैं. We matters जो हमने उनको communicate किए उसमें से few are decided as key audit matter, वो वाली चीज है. You can say 3 big para for auditor. Now इतने बड़े para या तो you have it in the main report या you put it as an annexure to the report. Annexure A में लिखा हुआ है. Or you can give a reference of website of some appropriate authority where law or regulation expressly permit. As of today, law or regulation expressly does not permit. तो कोई authority की website उसका address वो currently applicable नहीं है. That is not currently applicable. Okay, next one is report on other legal and regulatory matters. See, हमने जो opinion para करा ना, opinion में we gave a opinion on financials. सिर्फ financials पे opinion दिया. Now वो सिर्फ financials पे opinion दिया. वो 143(3)10 matters, CARO 21 matters, that will come here. फिर comes auditor's signature, your place of signature, date of signature. And important is UDIN, unique document identification number. See, people who are not CA, वो लोग रिपोर्ट बना के दे देते थे एंड थप्पा लगा देते CA. So how to understand it's a genuine report or not? तो UDIN number. Whenever you sign any report, any certificate, आपको एक UDIN number generate करना है. ICAI मतलब has formed basically a special website for it, and UDIN number has to be written in all your certificates as well as your reports. So this is to curb the malpractices. This is important, UDIN. Okay, now if you are called upon to report, अगर आपको बुलाया है कि report as per Indian auditing standard as well as international auditing standard, you can give one report mentioning कि audit is as per Indian auditing standard as well as international auditing standard, provided there's no conflict between requirement and उसके अंदर भी minimum ये 12 matters covered थे. अच्छा, अगर कुछ supplementary information is presented with financial, कुछ चीज प्रेजेंट की गई है फाइनेंशियल के साथ, इफ इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल आप ऑडिट करो, वो कवर्ड बाय रिपोर्ट होना चाहिए. बट इफ इट्स नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल, उसको सेपरेट किया होना चाहिए फाइनेंशियल से. तो फाइनेंशियल का अलग स्टेपलर है, बीओडी रिपोर्ट का अलग स्टेपलर है. इफ इट्स नॉट सेपरेटली प्रेजेंटेड, टेल मैनेजमेंट टू सेपरेट इट. मैनेजमेंट नहीं कर रहा है, राइट इट इन योर अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ. नेक्स्ट इज SA 701. नेक्स्ट SA 701. Communicating key audit matters in independent auditor's report. Now see, जब भी आप ऑडिट करो, ऑडिट करते टाइम whichever matters you consider, auditor, you considered as most significance for audit of current period financial statement, उसको बोलते हैं key audit matter. And key audit matter हमें लिखना है. अब इससे क्या होगा? It will enhance the communicative value of audit report. इससे communicative value of audit report बढ़ जाएगा. Users को पता चलेंगे areas where significant management judgments are there. Users को पता चलेंगे areas where auditor has focused more. So when they come and attend meeting, they are able to discuss well with the management. This is the purpose. अच्छा, this communicating key audit matter. So while doing audit, जो areas मुझे important लगे, मैंने उसको key audit matters लिखा हुआ है वहाँ पे. I have spent more time. अच्छा, communicating key audit matter is not. It is not a substitute of a disclosure in financial. Financial में disclose नहीं किया इसलिए यहाँ पे नहीं. It's not a substitute of modified report. It is not a substitute for that para material uncertainty related to going concern, and it's not a separate opinion on the matter. These matters are described in the context of financial statement as a whole. मैं कोई separate opinion नहीं दे रहा हूँ ये matters पे, ठीक है. And अगर आप disclaimer of opinion देते हो तब key audit matter की जरूरत नहीं है. अच्छा सर, हाउ डू आई डिटरमाइन और आइडेंटिफाई अ की ऑडिट मैटर? एरियाज जहां पे रिस्क हाई था, हाई एस्टिमेशन अनसर्टेनिटी, सिग्निफिकेंट जजमेंट्स वर इन्वॉल्व्ड, और सिग्निफिकेंट इवेंट ट्रांजैक्शन व्हिच हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग ईयर लाइक दिस, देयर वाज अ अमालगमेशन. तो कैसे अमालगमेशन को चेक करने में वी स्पेंड मोर टाइम, वो हो गया हमारा की ऑडिट मैटर. अच्छा सर, कम्युनिकेट कैसे करेंगे की ऑडिट मैटर? देयर इज अ सेपरेट सेक्शन इन योर रिपोर्ट की ऑडिट मैटर, ठीक है. अच्छा, बिफोर यू राइट की ऑडिट मैटर थोड़ा इंट्रो देना है. The first para is intro. Intro में क्या लिखेंगे? Key audit matters are those which in basically opinion of auditor or judgment of auditor were of most significance during audit of current period financial statement. We are not expressing separate opinion. They're basically covered in the overall context only. And फिर लिखेंगे key audit matter. फिर उसको लिखेंगे key audit matter. And जब आप key audit matter लिखते हो 1, 2, why they were key audit matter? How did you deal with it while doing your audit? It is not a substitute for modified opinion. अच्छा, sometimes हम key audit matter communicate नहीं करते. क्यों? Law regulation does not allow a public disclosure. Law allow नहीं कर रहा है public disclosure, और auditor believes कि communication will have a more of harmful effect rather than beneficial effect. अच्छा, one thing, अब मुझे बताओ, matter giving rise to modification, जिसके कारण मैं modified report दे रहा हूँ, या material uncertainty related to going concern, कहने से वो by nature key audit matter है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ना, मैटर गिविंग राइज टू मॉडिफिकेशन, और जिसके कारण मटेरियल अनसर्टेनिटी है, उसको मैंने डेफिनेटली डिटेल में चेक किया है, वो की ऑडिट मैटर है, बट उसको यहाँ पे नहीं लिखना है, बिकॉज as per SA 705, as per SA 570 उसका separate पैरा है, तो they are reported in accordance with other SA. उसका सिर्फ यहाँ पे रेफरेंस दे दो, तो क्या लिखेंगे? In addition to the matter, I repeat, in addition to the matter described in basis for qualified opinion section of the report, other key audit matters. तो जिसके कारण मॉडिफाई किया वो की ऑडिट मैटर है, बट यहाँ पे नहीं आएगा, सिर्फ उसका रेफरेंस दे देंगे. Then this was 701. Next is 705, modification. अच्छा, modified report. I'll just come in a minute. Okay, it was a small washroom wala break. Chalo, let's move ahead. We're left with SA 705, 706, 710. Let's finish it fast. 705 is modification to auditor's report. Question आएगा sir, when do I give a modified report? And how do I give a modified report? Two things covered है. अच्छा, तो when do I give a modified report? तो one, based on audit evidence is obtained, you conclude that financial statements are not free from material misstatement, or you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Come to the next page, एक chart है. So one, based on audit evidence is obtained, you conclude that financial statements are not free from material misstatement, or you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So in दो cases में modified. Now modified is divided in three parts: qualified, adverse, disclaimer. Sir, which one to give when? Depend करेगा effect या possible effect पे. आपने चेक करा वर्ड इफेक्ट, चेक नहीं करा वर्ड पॉसिबल इफेक्ट. इफेक्ट या पॉसिबल इफेक्ट कैन बी मटेरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव और मटेरियल एंड परवेसिव. अच्छा, अगर आपने चेक किया है, यू फाउंड देयर आर मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट्स, इफेक्ट वर्ड यूज होगा. अगर इफेक्ट इज मटेरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव तो क्वालिफाइड देना है. चेक किया एंड यू फाइंड द इफेक्ट इज मटेरियल एंड परवेसिव, एडवर्स. अच्छा, the questions are material, pervasive. What is the meaning? Material is something which influences the decisions of users of financial statement. अच्छा, pervasive क्या है? Just come up. Definition. Pervasive is nothing but a misstatement which is not at one place. It is not confined to a specific element, account balance item. It's at many places. और हाँ, अगर वो एक जगह पे है, that one place represents a substantial portion of financial statement. Imagine investment company के लिए investment गलत है. Only investments are wrong. Even one thing wrong, but that's a substantial portion. And third, if it is in relation to disclosure, disclosure is fundamental to the user's understanding of financial statement. अगर वो disclosures के related है, वो याद है material uncertainty related to going concern not disclosed. So even one disclosure, but it's a very very important disclosure. उसको pervasive. ठीक है. So if the effect or possible effect is material but not pervasive, qualify. And if the effect or possible effect is material and pervasive, check किया, adverse, check करने नहीं मिला, possible effect material and pervasive, disclaimer. अच्छा, qualified में what do we write? क्या लिखते हैं qualified में? The financial statement shows a true and fair view except this. Because pervasive नहीं है ना, एक आध जगह ही wrong है. अच्छा, अगर आप एडवर्स दे रहे हो तो व्हाट डू वी राइट? फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट डू नॉट शो अ ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू. डिस्क्लेमर में क्या लिखते हैं? वी आर अनएबल टू एक्सप्रेस एनी ऑडिट ओपिनियन. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट, अगर देयर इज अ इनएबिलिटी टू ऑब्टेन ऑडिट एविडेंस बिकॉज मैनेजमेंट ने कुछ लिमिटेशन डाल दिया आफ्टर द ऑडिट इज एक्सेप्टेड. अच्छा, बिफोर द ऑडिट इज एक्सेप्टेड अगर लिमिटेशन था, इफ लिमिटेशन विल लीड टू, अगर limitation is going to lead to a qualified report आप accept कर सकते थे, but if limitation is going to lead to disclaimer आप accept नहीं कर सकते थे. यहाँ पे is once you have accepted audit, now they are not allowing you to check something. They put some limitation. क्या करेंगे? Don't jump to conclusion. Marks चाहिए ना, आराम से लिखो. So if management puts some restriction, they are not allowing us to check, what do I do? First, request the management to remove limitation. नहीं कर रहे हैं, go to TCWG. Try to do alternative procedure. फिर भी you are unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Possible effect. Check नहीं किया. Word possible important. Possible effect material but not pervasive is qualified report. Possible effect material and pervasive, disclaimer of opinion or withdraw. Disclaimer of opinion or withdraw. Clear? This is forming a modified report. How to give a modified report? तो आपका जो basis for opinion para था ना, वहां पे एक एक्स्ट्रा पैरा ऐड हो जाएगा. Why are you giving qualified? Why are you giving adverse? Why are you giving disclaimer? वो एक्स्ट्रा पैरा ऐड हो जाएगा. अच्छा, वन मोर थिंग, अगर आप डिस्क्लेमर दे रहे हो तो आपका जो इंट्रो पैरा था, in your opinion there was an intro para, we have audited accompanying financial statement. अगर डिस्क्लेमर है तो राइट डाउन वी वेर एंगेज टू ऑडिट. सिर्फ डिस्क्लेमर में वी वेर एंगेज टू ऑडिट आएगा. तो वन एक्स्ट्रा पैरा व्हाई मॉडिफाइड. डिस्क्लेमर के अंदर वी वेर एंगेज टू ऑडिट, एंड डिस्क्लेमर के अंदर इफ यू रिमेंबर ऑडिटर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, तीन बड़े बड़े पैरा. ऑडिटर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तीन बड़े बड़े पैरा, इंस्टेड ऑफ थ्री बिग पैरा ओनली वन पैरा. दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, जस्ट कम डाउन. ये बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन, इसके अंदर why modified एक पैरा ऐड होगा. why modified you're adding and quantification करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. एंड ये रहा डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ ऑडिटर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी व्हेन ऑडिटर डिस्क्लेम्स ओपिनियन. जब आप डिस्क्लेम करते हो तो जो ऑडिटर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तीन बड़े बड़े पैरा थे ना, उसके बदले ओनली वन पैरा. I repeat, instead of three big para, one para with three sentence. कौन से three sentence? A statement that auditor, we are responsible to, our responsibility is to conduct an audit in accordance with SA and issue a report. However, because of the significance of the matter described in basis for disclaimer of opinion section of the report, we were unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for audit opinion. And third, statement that we are independent and we have complied with ethical requirements. So instead of three big paras, one para with three sentence. जब आप disclaimer दे रहे हो, qualified adverse में it will be same three big para. Are you clear? This is important. July 21 exam, this was asked. Okay, this is basically your 705. Come to 706. Illustrations are fine, not relevant for exam purpose. Come to 706. Last two standards, 706, 710. चलो ये पी. Now 706 is emphasis of matter para, other matter para in independent auditors report. So these are the paragraph. Can I say we are adding in our audit report? Emphasis, other matter. Now see, emphasis किसके लिए होता है? It is for something which is already there in financial. Something appropriately presented, disclosed in financial already है, बराबर है. We just want to draw attention. कोई भी चीज पे draw attention. There was a fire, they have disclosed properly, I am drawing attention. There was a amalgamation, they have written properly, accounted properly, I want to draw attention. They have paid remuneration beyond a limit. So managerial remuneration beyond a limit. CG approval taken. CG का approval taken है. They have written in notes, I just want to draw attention. तो कोई भी चीज which is appropriately there in financials, I want to draw attention, उसके लिए emphasis है. And the matter should be relevant for the user to understand financials. What is emphasis? It's a matter included in auditor's report that refers to a matter appropriately presented, disclosed in financial, and the matter in auditor's judgment is fundamental for the user to understand financial statement. Just I want to draw attention. तो जब भी आप emphasis दो, you have to clearly write, we draw your attention to note number 10 of this. And आपको लिखना है, we are not modifying report. हम इसके कारण modify नहीं कर रहे, because it's appropriately presented, disclosed in financial. हम सिर्फ draw कर रहे हैं attention. अच्छा, other matter क्या है? This is a para which we add. हम लोग ये para add करते हैं, which refers to a matter. ये matter कौन सा है? It refers to a matter which is not there in financial. It is other than something presented or disclosed. It's not there in financial. And matter is important for user to understand audit, auditor's responsibility, auditor's report. So ये matter is not for the user to understand financials. ये matter is important for user to understand audit, auditor's responsibility, auditor's report. So this is for something which is not there in financial. and it is for user to understand audit, auditor's responsibility, auditor's report. Sir example, अच्छा अगर अगर जॉइंट ऑडिटर ने अलग ऑडिट रिपोर्ट दिया है तो कैन आई से राइट इन अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ द अदर जॉइंट ऑडिटर हैज गिवन अ सेपरेट ओपिनियन. दिस इज टू क्लैरिफाई ऑडिट, ऑडिटर्स रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट. सेम वे अगर प्रीवियस ईयर के फिगर किसी और ने ऑडिट किए हैं, वी हैव रिलाइड ऑन देम, अदर मैटर पैरा में लिखेंगे. अगर ब्रांचेस किसी और ने ऑडिट किए हैं, वी आर रिलाइंग ऑन देम, अदर मैटर पैरा में लिखेंगे. तो दिस ऑल बेसिकली वी राइट इट इन अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ. ठीक है. अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन, ये एम्फोसिस ऑफ मैटर, अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ कहां पे आएगा? तो दिस विल कम, लाइक एम्फोसिस विल कम आफ्टर योर की ऑडिट मैटर, बिफोर द मैनेजमेंट रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. आफ्टर की ऑडिट मैटर, बिफोर मैनेजमेंट रिस्पांसिबिलिटी. अदर मैटर कहां पे आएगा? अदर मैटर विल कम आफ्टर. अदर मैटर कहां पे आएगा? इट विल कम आफ्टर योर एम्फोसिस ऑफ मैटर. तो की ऑडिट मैटर के बाद एम्फोसिस, एम्फोसिस के बाद अदर मैटर. डिड यू अंडरस्टूड? बट बिफोर द मैनेजमेंट रिस्पांसिबिलिटी पैराग्राफ्स. ठीक है, हो गया. एक्चुअली दिस इज डन. अच्छा वन मोर थिंग. अगर कोई आइटम है जिसके लिए मैं ऑलरेडी रिपोर्ट मॉडिफाई कर रहा हूं, अगर कोई आइटम है जिसके लिए मैं रिपोर्ट मॉडिफाई कर रहा हूं, या अगर कोई आइटम है विच इज कमिंग अंडर की ऑडिट मैटर, इट कैन नॉट कम अंडर एम्फोसिस या अदर मैटर, बिकॉज वो ऑलरेडी उसके लिए मॉडिफाई किया, ऑलरेडी की ऑडिट मैटर है, कहने से ऑलरेडी सेपरेट डिस्क्लोजर इज डन. अगर उसका सेपरेट डिस्क्लोजर हो गया, नाउ इट विल नॉट कम अंडर एम्फोसिस ऑफ मैटर और अदर मैटर. एंड एम्फोसिस और अदर मैटर उसी के लिए है जिसके लिए हमें मॉडिफाई नहीं करना है. But if that thing has came in key audit matter, it cannot come under emphasis of matter again. Last essay of the day is essay 710. Last essay of the day, essay 710. Financial statement में two figures are there, current year and previous year. Whether our report is only on current year or on both. क्या हमारा रिपोर्ट सिर्फ करंट ईयर के लिए या बोथ पे है? डिपेंड्स. There are two approaches. एक को बोलते हैं करस्पॉन्डिंग फिगर अप्रोच, दूसरा कंपैरेटिव फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट अप्रोच. नाउ सी द लैंग्वेज. Under corresponding figure approach, the previous year's figures are considered as integral part of current period financial statement. Under corresponding figure approach, previous year के figure are an integral part of current period financial statement. So can I say, if I say I've audited current period financial statement, previous year's figures are a part of it. Previous year's figure part हो गए, तो can I say mandatorily we are reporting on both figures. यहाँ पे the previous year's figures are not a part, they are just given for comparison. तो यहाँ पे if I say I've audited current year financial, it's only current year figure. तो यहाँ पे फर्स्ट वाले अप्रोच में मैंडेटरी रिपोर्टिंग ऑन बोथ, सेकंड वाले अप्रोच में वी रिपोर्ट either only on current year or on both. फर्स्ट वाले में मैंडेटरी बोथ. अच्छा फर्स्ट वाले में previous year figure are part of current year financial statement. I will write in my report, we have audited balance sheet as at 31st March 22. 22 balance sheet includes 21 figures. तो specifically लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है कि balance sheet है 22 and 21. So no need to specifically write under first approach. But second approach में वो previous year was only for comparison. अगर आप audit कर रहे हो specifically लिखो. तो सेकंड अप्रोच में अगर आप दोनों फिगर ऑडिट कर रहे हो स्पेसिफिकली लिखो. क्लियर? नाउ सर व्हिच अप्रोच टू फॉलो? यार प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर क्यों दिया वो तो मैनेजमेंट को बताना पड़ेगा. आर दे गिविंग फॉर कंपैरिजन, आर दे गिविंग इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ करंट ईयर फाइनेंशियल, वो मैनेजमेंट का कॉल है. तो व्हिच अप्रोच टू फॉलो विल बी गिवन बाय लॉ और रेगुलेशन. अगर लॉ और रेगुलेशन साइलेंट है, मैनेजमेंट विल टेक अ कॉल और वो अपने नोट्स में लिखेंगे व्हाई आर दे गिविंग प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर. Companies Act is always corresponding figure approach. Companies Act is always corresponding figure approach. The previous year figure is a part of current year financial statement mandatorily. ठीक है. अब sir corresponding figure approach में we have to report on both the figures. ठीक है, दोनों figures पे report करना है mandatory. But sir should I check also both the figures? क्या मुझे दोनों figure check भी करने पड़ेंगे? See अगर last year you were the auditor, no problem, already check किया है. अच्छा last year someone else was auditor, you can rely on the report given by him, no need to check again. You are reporting on both but फिर से check नहीं करना है. Last year आप auditor थे तो no problem, someone else was auditor, you can rely on his figure. But अगर आप उसकी figure पे rely करो, other matter para में लिखो that previous year's figures were audited by other auditor, he has given this kind of report on this date. He has given this kind of report on this date. Did you understood? अच्छा suppose while doing current year का audit आपको previous year related कुछ misstatement लग रहा है, while doing current year audit previous year related कुछ misstatement लग रहा है, then you don't rely on previous year auditor, आप खुद check करो, and आप खुद check करने के बाद आपको लगा previous year में गलती है, now you are reporting on both, आप दोनों पे रिपोर्ट कर रहे हो, तो कैन आई से योर रिपोर्ट ऑन प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर डिफर्स फ्रॉम लास्ट ईयर ऑडिटर, तो अगर आपका रिपोर्ट ऑन प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर डिफर्स फ्रॉम लास्ट ईयर्स ऑडिटर, तो रीजन फॉर डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन शुड आल्सो बी गिवन अंडर अदर मैटर पैराग्राफ, क्लियर है ना। अगर प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर अनऑडिटेड है, आपने ऑडिट नहीं किया, किसी और ने ऑडिट नहीं किया, अनऑडिटेड है, वो भी अदर मैटर पैरा में लिखो, प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर्स आर अनऑडिटेड। नाउ रिक्वायरमेंट, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर इंपॉर्टेंट, रिपोर्टिंग इंपॉर्टेंट, दोनों इंपॉर्टेंट, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर भी इंपॉर्टेंट, रिपोर्टिंग। तो फर्स्ट आई नीड टू सी कि जो प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर दिया है ना, दैट इज एज पर द एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, वो अप्रोप्रिएटली क्लासिफाइड है, तो पहले वो देखो इट इज एज पर द एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, प्लस यू आल्सो इवैल्यूएट क्या वो मैच हो रहे लास्ट ईयर के साथ, एंड अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज जो है वो कंसिस्टेंट है, अगर अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी चेंज हुई, इज इट प्रॉपर्ली अकाउंटेड, प्रेजेंटेड, डिस्क्लोज्ड, है ना। इफ व्हाइल डूइंग ऑडिट ऑफ दिस ईयर, इस साल का ऑडिट करते टाइम आपको पॉसिबल मिसस्टेटमेंट लग रहा है लास्ट ईयर में, पॉसिबल मिसस्टेटमेंट लग रहा है लास्ट ईयर में, यू नीड टू डू सम एक्स्ट्रा प्रोसीजर टू कंफर्म अबाउट इट, and if you are reporting on both figure, take a representation from management for both figure. If you are reporting only on current year, take a representation from management only for current year. Now reporting, अब मुझे बताओ, if it's a corresponding figure approach, can I say mandatory reporting on both? Corresponding figure approach, mandatory reporting on both. So should I write we have audited balance sheet as at 31st March 22 and 31st March 21? कैसा लिखना है? नहीं. Under corresponding figure approach, you do not refer to the corresponding figures. उसको specifically लिखने की जरूरत नहीं. But हम दोनों फिगर पे रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. अगर दो में से एक भी गलत होगा, I'll give a modified report in this. अगर आप मॉडिफाई करो ना, तो आपको क्वांटिफाई करना पड़ता है इफेक्ट. तो नॉर्मली हम लोग रेफर नहीं करते हैं कि भाई हमने मार्च 21 के भी बैलेंस शीट को चेक किया है, बट इफ सपोज वी आर गिविंग अ मॉडिफाइड रिपोर्ट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू कुछ लास्ट ईयर में गलती थी, इट अफेक्ट्स करंट ईयर आल्सो, तो बोथ फिगर्स आर रॉन्ग. लास्ट ईयर में गलती थी, डजंट अफेक्ट करंट ईयर, कैन आई से स्टिल लास्ट ईयर फिगर इज रॉन्ग? या तो सिर्फ लास्ट ईयर फिगर गलत है या दोनों फिगर गलत है, विल मॉडिफाई. तो अगर दोनों फिगर गलत है, विल मॉडिफाई, विल रेफर टू बोथ, दोनों गलत है. बट अगर सिर्फ प्रीवियस ईयर गलत है, आई एम रिपोर्टिंग ऑन बोथ ना, एक भी गलत है, मुझे मॉडिफाइड देना है, तो आई विल रेफर ओनली टू प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर. आई एम रेफरिंग टू बोथ और आई एम रेफरिंग टू प्रीवियस ईयर व्हेन वी आर मॉडिफाइंग द रिपोर्ट. तो नॉर्मली आप प्रीवियस ईयर फिगर का रेफरेंस नहीं देते हो, बट अगर आप मॉडिफाई कर रहे हो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रीवियस ईयर और विद रिस्पेक्ट टू बोथ, तो आपको स्पेसिफिक रेफरेंस देना पड़ेगा, क्वांटिफाई भी करना पड़ेगा व्हाट द इफेक्ट इज. देन दिस इज योर SA 710. हो गया. वी हैव डन इट इन एक्सट्रीम वेल डिटेल. तो 6 की जगह अराउंड 7 आवर्स लग गए. We took 7 hours for this auditing standard, but we have ensured it's revised in a proper detailed way, including important questions are also covered. Just one thing, if suppose आपके कोई friend ने attend नहीं किया था live, please recommend them. I'm telling you, ये type का revision in this much time is not possible. We have seriously given a proper dedicated efforts for it. And yes, one thing, I know your exams are nearer. आपकी एग्जाम्स बहुत नियर है, एक्चुअली कल से स्टार्ट हो रही है. तो विशिंग यू अगेन ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशन. एंड इफ यू फील दैट यू हैव एनी डाउट्स, प्लीज फील फ्रैंक टू आस्क मी. सेकंड, इफ यू आर फीलिंग लो, आपको लग रहा है कि यार सर मजा नहीं आ रहा है, आई एम नॉट एबल टू प्रिपेयर वेल, आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्टडी वेल, डेफिनेटली कॉन्टैक्ट मी. Please contact me. If at all you are not feeling well, I'll be very happy to motivate you, pump you up. तो एक चीज याद रखो, failure is always temporary. It's giving up that makes it permanent. Say आज मैं पढ़ नहीं पा रहा हूँ, I'm not able to concentrate, and I close the book ना, तो problem है. But अगर मैं पढ़ नहीं पा रहा हूँ, I still continue, पक्का I'll tell you, you will not have any problem. Failure is temporary, but giving up, आपने छोड़ दिया, बुक बंद कर दी, attempt next time दे देंगे, that's wrong. Never ever have a thought of quitting the attempt. One time you quit the attempt, I bet and say next time also आपका confidence नहीं होगा. It's not about time. आपको कितना भी टाइम मिले, डजंट मैटर। तो वो टाइम का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। योर रिसोर्सेज विल नेवर बी सफिशिएंट अनलेस यू नो हाउ टू यूज देम। आपको प्रॉब्लम टाइम का नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट दैट कितना भी टाइम दे दूं आप यूज नहीं करने वाले हो प्रॉपर्ली। इतने टाइम में नहीं हुआ तो आगे होगा उसका कोई गारंटी नहीं। तो प्लीज नेवर थिंक ऑफ क्विटिंग द अटेम्प्ट। यू हैव प्रिपेयर्ड वेल। नेक्स्ट 16-17 days you have to prepare well and write your best in examination. Wishing all the best again. See you all with flying colors. Result up pass ho jao. And we are meeting again in CA final. And I tell you, final में I teach 2 subjects, FR as well as auditing. Any doubts? Anybody? Please tell me. Otherwise, we put an end to this session. Any doubts? Anybody? चंदू, जॉइंट ऑडिट के अंदर 2 चीजें थी। वन इज इन डेवलपिंग अ जॉइंट ऑडिट प्लान वी कंसिडर 5 पॉइंट्स जो स्ट्रैटेजी वाले थे, जैसे स्कोप डिफाइन करना, ऑब्जेक्टिव, कौन से मैटर्स इंपॉर्टेंट रहेंगे, बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू प्लान, नो, plus preliminary engagement activity, and last one was basically we determine nature, timing, extent of resources required. So in developing a joint audit plan, we try to see 5 things which were a part of strategy. वो ऐसे 300 में भी है। And number 2, अगर आपका क्वेश्चन है कि भाई सर whether we are all responsible, तो normally everybody responsible only for their work, but 6 matters में all were jointly and several responsible. ठीक है, एक बार पढ़ोगे हो जाएगा। And then, chalo, all the best. See you all in CA finals.